Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was raised by Pegasus Yugioh. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by NinjaGogeta and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1 Entrance Exam. Why am I even here? Were the thoughts of one Uzumaki Naruto as he stood outside the testing building. Hundreds of teenagers were huddled together, waiting for the practical exam to begin. It's not like I already know how to play duel monsters or anything, I only have 5 years of experience, he thought sarcastically. Hundreds of teenagers stood, huddled together waiting for the practical exam to begin. A man with a jacket with the words Duel Academy written on the breast stepped forward and spoke. Okay everyone, he started, smiling enthusiastically. It's time to prove your dueling abilities and show you are worthy of entering Duel Academy. There was murmured excitement as the potential students entered a larger room with multiple dueling arenas, with a person standing on each one. The man from outside came over to the crowd and stood next to a rather effeminate man, who made Naruto shudder disgust. What the fuck, he thought, staring with a twitching brow that's creepier than both Guy and Pegasus combined. He snapped out of his thoughts as the first man, Jacket Guy from now on, continued speaking. Okay, settle down. He waited for silence before continuing. Alright, now all of you are going shall duel against our specially chosen test duelist to see if you have the skill to prove yourself worthy of attending Duel Academy. There was a general murmur before it silenced. The man standing next to me is Professor Kronos, an accomplished duelist and the head of the Obelisk Blue Dorm, but you'll hear more about that later. He will be observing you to see if you have what it takes. Naruto's sweat dropped. Wow, he's really forcing this. How prove your worth stuff. He blinked as he realized the weirdo had been talking and was just finishing. Damn, I've got to stop doing that, Naruto thought. He looked at the ticket in his hand as the jacket guy started talking again. When your number is called, please make your way to the designated arena and your test duel will begin. Everyone, except the first 10, moved towards the stands. Friends all gathered together to talk, while friends of the current duelists went to watch their matches. As Naruto walked up to the top of the stands, he had but one thought on his mind. Why did Pegasus want me to come here? Flashback. Naruto was looking through his new deck on a sun lounger next to Pegasus's pool when the man himself approached him, wearing a dressing gown for some inexplicable reason. Naruto looked at him and grinned. Pegasus, you lazy bastard, just woke up. Pegasus gave him an amused smile. On the contrary, Naruto boy, I've been on the phone with Kaiba boy and I have a proposition for you. I believe it would be a positive experience for you. Despite his annoyance at the nickname, he was also curious about what he said. Oh yeah, what kind of experience would that be then? He suddenly got a glint in his eye and an excited grin appeared on his face. Is it a duel? Because that would be awesome, I would totally kick his ass. Pegasus seemed to find this amusing judging by his shaking shoulders. Ooh Naruto boy, you're almost as amusing as Funny Bunny, but you're nowhere skilled enough to even interest Kaiba boy. Naruto pouted before scowling at Pegasus. That's what you think, don't underestimate me, I'd destroy the team and his deck. He declared, pointing at Pegasus, Dadabeo. This sent Pegasus over the edge as he started laughing loudly, bending over. Naruto glared at him as he straightened himself, wiping a tear of mirth from his lone eye before he spoke in a deeply amused voice. Now Naruto boy, don't make promises you can't keep, after all, you never go back on your word and it would be a shame if you were forced to. He said, smiling at the still scowling teen. The boy was ever so amusing when he got all fired up. As the teen calmed down, the scowl vanished and he went back to being his usual calm self, looking at Pegasus curiously. So, what's this positive experience then, and what's it got to do with Kaiba? Naruto asked. I mean, isn't he busy running a company? And his eyes widened in horror as he got an idea what the experience could be. Oh hell no. I am not going to no school, I had enough of that in the other academy. He shouted, shivering in reminiscence of his past academy days. Pegasus frowned at this and remembered what the blonde teen told him about his school days in his first childhood. He had honestly forgotten about that, excited as he was about his genius idea. Pegasus suddenly grinned a small grin. This was perfect and it just reinforced his original motive. Coughing to get the whiskered blonde's attention, he continued speaking. Look at it this way Naruto boy, you can't just stay here. As much as I enjoy your company, you should be out there, making friends and having fun. Think of it as having a second chance at a normal life. Besides, who knows, you may find yourself a worthy rival and maybe even pick up some new tricks. Pegasus's smile became suggestive, not to mention there'll be lots of girls in uniforms. Naruto blinked before looking upwards in thought and a perverted grin appeared on his face. Wiping of a small trickle of blood from his nose, he spoke. Alright Pegasus, I'll go. Who knows, I might just have some fun with this. Flashback end. Naruto was having the exact opposite of fun, sitting in the stands. He looked at his number and cursed. Why did it have to be so high? Grumbling to himself, he glanced around the large room, taking in all the potential students, the duels and possible competition. Looking high up at the top layer of the stand opposite him, he caught something that made his eyes widen. He could only describe what he saw as a goddess. Golden blonde hair, stormy gray eyes, and that bust. He burst into a fit of perverted giggles at the thoughts in his head, people around him moving away from him uneasily. He inwardly thanked Pegasus for this wonderful idea, the man was a genius. So caught in his fantasies was he that he didn't notice his name being called. It was only after someone shook his shoulder did he snap out of his trance. He turned around angrily to smash the bastard who interrupted his thoughts. He saw a boy with neatly arranged hair with it spiking at the back. Noticing the danger he was in, the boy chuckled nervously before speaking. Haha, shouldn't you be going down? This snapped Naruto out of his daze, and he looked at the rather posh-sounded boy before him. The call for his number sounded again, sounding more than slightly annoyed. His eyes widened in panic before he rushed down to the stadium ground, throwing a quick thanks over his shoulder to the black-haired teen. Reaching the bottom of the stands, he placed one hand on the barrier and vaulted over it. Landing, he ran over to his designated dueling area, apology excuse prepared. He face-faulted, however, when he saw his tester, a rather dull-looking man, average in every way, with a bored expression on his face, obviously not caring. The man just switched on his duel disc and waited. Recovering, Naruto quickly turned on his, and the two of them called duel, one voice vastly more enthusiastic than the other. The rather plain man spoke first. "We will start with my turn first." Naruto nodded and the two of them drew 5 cards, the tester drawing a 6th. The tester, let's call him Jim, scanned his hand before selecting a monster and summoning it to the field. I summon a Keikiaisu in attack mode, a weird clown-like monster appeared on his side of the field. The Keikiaisu spellcaster Dark LVL. 3. At death. 1800s. The boring man ended his turn. Naruto looked slightly taken at his weak play. Is that it, though bewildered? He sighed. He shouldn't have gotten his hopes up. Drawing a card, he looked at his hand and smirked at his perfect hand. Looks like you'll be up soon, my old friends. He picked out a card and placed it into his duel disc. I summon the demon brothers Maizu and Gozu in attack mode. 2 men appeared on the field, standing back to back. They both had long hair, camouflage, breathing masks and metal claws attached to each other by a spike chain. The demon brothers Maizu and Gozu warrior water LVL. 4. At death, 1300-900. Attack a Keikiaisu, he commanded, pointed at said target. The brothers moved faster than the eye could follow and appeared either side of the clown. They tugged their chain and the spellcaster was viciously torn apart. Naruto 4000. Jim, 3700. Jim's expression didn't change in the slightest, just looking bored as ever. Naruto twitched slightly before continuing his turn. Next, I play the spell card Hidden Mist Jutsu. A thick mist covered Naruto's side of the field, hiding his monster from view. He smirked. Now the man reacted, as long as I have a water monster in play, this card hides them from view, meaning they can't be attacked, and my life points are kept safe. Naruto's smirk grew at his killer combo, but face faulted at the snore he heard from the other side of the mist. He jumped to his feet, eyes wide in pure white. Wake up, asshole. The man jerked awake and blinked at the mist. He raised a confused brow. Where did this mist come from? Raya. Up in the stands, 110 joined. Asuka watched on in interest at the strange cards played by the even stranger blonde. She looked at her tall companion. What do you think? I haven't seen anything like those cards he played before. Marufuji or Ayu just watched on silently, a small smirk on his face. Let's see what you've got, Uzumaki. Wiggling his finger in his ear after the rather loud rant from the irate blonde, Jim drew a card from his deck. I guess it's my turn. I summon Arbitrator in attack mode. A man in purple robes sitting in a chair appeared on the field. Arbitrator spellcaster light LVL. 3. At death, 1300-800. Next, I equip him with the spell card Book of Secret Arts. Smirking, Naruto cut him off. No, you don't. I activate the counter spell explosive tag. Naruto's face down flipped up, revealing a paper tag covered in writing with the kanji for explode in the center. When my opponent activates a spell or trap card, I can activate this face down card. It destroys the card you just played. A tag appeared in front of the card before flying at the book that had only just materialized. When it slapped itself onto the book, it made a sizzling sound before exploding, the explosion enveloping Jim. Naruto 4000. Jim, 3200. Naruto smirked. Oh yeah, forgot to mention this, but when explosive tag destroys a card, it inflicts 500 points of damage to your life points. The smoke dispersed to reveal a slightly singed and coughing Jim. A small drop of sweat went down Jim's face, falling onto the floor. To shook up at the sudden move from the blonde, the rather plain man ended his turn without doing anything further. Naruto drew a card and a fond smile grew on his face as a spectral figure appeared behind him before disappearing just as quickly. I summoned Fake Hunter Haku in attack mode. Fake Hunter Haku Warrior Water LVL. 4. At def, 1600-1400. What seemed to be a teenage boy appeared on the field. He had black hair tied in a bun with two long bangs either side of his masked face. The mask was white with strange red waves on the bottom half and a symbol of 4 wavy lines on the forehead. He wore a turtleneck under a battle kimono and ninja sandals. The boy was only visible for a few seconds before disappearing in the mist. Naruto smirked, wow, he does that a lot eh? Before ordering Haku to attack. A barrage of senbon needles flew from within the mist, skewering Arbitrator and destroying it. Naruto 4000. Jim, 2900. Now demon brothers attack him directly. The two bros appeared before Jim and slashed him with their claws, causing the man to let out a cry from the simulated pain. He fell to one knee as he panted, trying to overcome the pain. Naruto 4000. Jim, 1600. And with that I lend my turn, Naruto said, trademark grin in place. Quite a few girls in the audience blushed at this, God knows why, seriously why does this guy have so many fans? And some of the guys glared at him seeing the effect he had on the girls. Naruto looked around and was surprised to see nearly everyone was watching the duel. Some had even paused in their own duels to watch. While this was happening, Jim had drawn a card and hid a smirk at what he drew. Everyone's attention returned to Jim as he began his turn. I place one monster in face down defense mode and end my turn. Many people face faulted at this lame turn, while the other sweat dropped at his hidden smirk, Naruto included. Jim was cackling in his mind. Ahahahahaha, when he attacks Yugioh the water tamer, I'll take over his monster, then sacrifice both monsters to summon High Priestess of Prophecy, then I'll discard Spellbook of Wisdom to activate my monster's effect and get rid of that hidden mist jutsu, and then I'll slowly take his life points away. Everyone's sweat drops grew as Jim started sniggering to himself. Raising a brow at the usually unresponsive man, Naruto considered his last move. That card's probably an effect monster, one that'll turn this duel around if that sniggering's anything to go by. Drawing a card, Naruto grinned, this was just what he needed. Raising his voice and halting Jim's giggles, he proceeded to start the beginning of the end of this duel. I equipped the demon brothers with kunai and chain, the clinking of chains was heard in the mist. Next I sacrifice Fake Hunter Haku to summon Demon of the Mist's Abusa in attack mode. A shattering sound came from the mist, and a tall man with bandages around his mouth and neck with a huge sword on his back appeared before vanishing into the magic fog. Naruto smirked and begun his game breaker. Now Zabuza's effect activates. If this card is tribute summoned by using Fake Hunter Haku, I can add the equip spell card Mist Demon's Rage from my deck to my hand. A card jutted out of Naruto's deck and he pulled it out, now I'll equip it to Zabuza. Zabuza's face wrapping came undone as a kunai materialized in his mouth and the colossal man bowed over, arms hanging by his sides. Of course, that's what you would see if the mist wasn't in the way. Zabuza's attack points rose by a whopping 1000 points. When Naruto voiced this little factoid, everyone's jaws dropped. Now Zabuza, attack his face down monster. Zabuza stormed out of the mist, an ominous cloud behind him in the shape of a snarling demon. When it reached the face down, Jim grinned and prepared to declare his victory. But not before Zabuza just stabbed the face down, destroying it without anything happening. Jim's expression slowly fell from one of victory to one of shock, then outrage. What the hell? Naruto grinned foxily. When Zabuza is equipped with Mist Demon's Rage, he can instantly destroy one face down without flipping it. The kunai fell from Zabuza's mouth as he collapsed on his face. Sadly, when the attack is over, Zabuza loses all his attack and defense points, becoming pretty much useless. But unfortunately for you, my battle phase isn't over just yet. Sweat started to pour down Jim's face as he heard the clinking of chains from within the mist. Demon brothers, finish him with a direct attack. The brothers appeared either side of Jim and slashed him from each side with the kunai and chain they were equipped with. The added boost to their attack points made up for the would-be gap. Jim fell to his knees as his life points depleted for the last time. Naruto 4000. Jim 0000. The room was silent for a few moments before everyone cheered at the climax of the epic duel. Jim stayed in the OTL position for a while before getting up to his feet and walking up to Naruto. He kept a stoic expression for a few seconds before smiling widely. Good duel, best I've had in a long time. I have no doubt you'll be a top duelist one day. You have no idea, Naruto thought to himself. Bound to each other, Naruto walked back to stands as Jim waited for his next opponent. Naruto was clapped on the back and winked at by the boys and girls respectively, thank God, and all that is mighty, it was in that order, as he made his way to his original seat. He saw the same black-haired boy from earlier and decided to apologize to thank him. Hey, thanks for earlier and sorry I almost hit you. He said sheepishly, rubbing the back of his head. The slightly posh boy smiled back. Don't worry, no harm done. I must say though, that was an incredible duel. Your strategy was almost flawless, absolutely flawless. Naruto grinned and was about to say something back, but the Tannoy cut him off. But number plus please come to arena immediately, the voice said, and Naruto couldn't help but think the lady was still pissed at him from earlier. Eye twitching, he turned back to the black-haired boy. Well, looks like it's my turn. I'll see you later. Nodding his affirmation, Naruto sat down and watched his new acquaintance make his way down to the floor. Although his ego was stoked from his praise, he was also a bit ticked at his ending one. Almost flawless, please, as if you could have a completely flawless strategy, he smirked. However, at his next thought, well, if that isn't a challenge, then I don't know what is. And Uzumaki Naruto never backs down from a challenge, Dadabeo. Grimacing at his verbal tick of sorts, he sat back and watched the black-haired boys duel. Naruto whistled as he saw his new acquaintance effortlessly beat his opponent. Of course, to the inexperienced eye it looked like he would lose the duel, but with a well-played counter, he instantly turned it around in his favor. Looking towards the entrance, he saw a brown-haired boy, which was shaped like a Kurobo, hey-ho, burst in. After some talking, the Kurobo head was standing on one of the rings facing off against the extremely effeminate Professor Kronos. This should be interesting, a rather British voice sounded from behind him. Turning around, he saw the black-haired boy standing next to him. The boy looked at him and smiled. My name is Misawa Daichi, nice to meet you. Grinning, Naruto introduced himself. In that instant, as their eyes met, a rivalry and friendship was born. Chapter 2 Arrival. Naruto looked out the window of his private jet at the approaching duel academy. Sipping on a glass of cola, he was glad that Pegasus let him borrow it. The flamboyant man insisted that seeing as he declined the offer of going into Obelisk Blue, he should at least arrive in style. With next to no persuasion required, Naruto agreed to the offer. We will be landing at Duel Academy in 5 minutes, Uzumaki-san, his pilot informed him. Giving his thanks, here he did his seatbelt. Do they have them in jets? And prepared for landing. Looking down at his uniform, he wondered why it had to be yellow. Why not just make it orange? Say what you like about orange, but at least it's better than yellow. Heck, you don't see more yellow cars than orange, do you? So why do people knock the orange? Maybe I could accidentally dye it orange while washing it or something, the blonde teen thought to himself. A spiritual figure sitting in the seat next to him shook its head in exasperation. The boy was orange mad. Smiling to itself, the figure vanished as the jet landed. Undoing his seatbelt, he stood up with a flare, because, come on, this is the Yu-Gi-Oh universe, everything is overdramatic. And made his way to the door. Look out, Duel Academy, here I come. Later, Naruto found himself standing in a classroom that looked like the kind you find in universities, looking up at a large TV screen. After a few seconds, a bald man with a beard appeared on it. He had a friendly expression on his face and appeared to be wearing a red jacket. Welcome, dueling elites. You all used your dueling skills to open the narrow admission gates. As the old man was talking, Naruto looked to his left to see the Kurobo head boy who, in his opinion, got in by sheer luck, sleeping while standing upright. The old Naruto would have grinned and most likely have already been asleep also, but many things had changed Naruto, which will be revealed later, don't worry, Link. And the Osiris Red's behavior irked him somewhat. It was if he didn't care that he got into such an establishment, conveniently forgetting he wasn't too fond of the idea himself at first, and Naruto believed he didn't even take dueling all too seriously anyway. Turning away from the Kurobo head, he listened to the rest of the speech. As he was leaving, someone fell in line with him. Turning his head, he grinned at the sight of his new friend rival Misawa Daichi. Misawa grinned back. I see that we are both in raw yellow, do you mind if I walk to our dorm with you? His grin growing wider, Naruto shrugged and the two walked out of the main entrance. Seeing the for some reason in red Kurobo head, Naruto rolled his eyes hearing him ask if they were also in red. Before his rival, oh yeah, I invented a new word. Could answer, Naruto cut in. Nope, if you can't tell from our uniforms, we're in raw yellow. He said a bit curtly. If there was something Naruto hated, it was prodigies, something he could tell Jaden most likely was. After all, it was obvious he put no effort into anything and was still extremely skilled. Whereas Kronos completely denied and ignored his skills, Naruto decided to ignore the boy in general. Facepalming at the slacker's response, he carried on walking, letting Misawa fill the boy in on where his dorm is. As Misawa caught up, he looked at Naruto oddly for a few seconds before facing forward. Naruto got out his PDA thingy, seriously, what are those things they have? And looked for his room number. As he later found out, it just so happened to be the room next to his rivals. As they walked to the raw yellow dorm, Misawa decided to initiate conversation. So, Naruto, how did you get here? I didn't see you on the helicopter. Blinking at the question, as anime characters do, he answered. Oh, I arrived by jet. Not noticing his companion's dropped jaw, he continued. "It's not mine or anything, Pegasus let me borrow it, actually," he insisted, seeing as I turned down being an obelisk blue. If Naruto's first statement shocked Misawa, his second and third left him gobsmacked and he stopped still for a few seconds trying to process it. After a few seconds he ran to catch up with Naruto. He grabbed Naruto's arm, stopping him. Wait, you know Pegasus J. Crawford and you denied the chance to be an obelisk blue," he nearly shouted. Naruto looked at him oddly before continuing onwards. "Yeah. Geez, why you making such a big deal out of it?" Once again gaping at the blonde's back, Misawa just shook his head and followed after him. "He'll get the full story another time." Muhahahaha, not yet readers, not yet. After they found their dorms, Naruto and Misawa were standing opposite of each other in a plane that they happened to come across as they were exploring the surrounding area, and they decided to duel to test each other's abilities. After all, watching someone duel can only tell you so much about them, actually dueling each other helps you connect. In Naruto's own words, Misawa just wanted to see if he could beat his hit and miss strategy. "I'll go first," Misawa said. Boy nodded as they both drew 5 cards, Naruto drawing a 6th. Looking at his hand, he decided to see how the black-haired boy would react to his previous strategy. "First I summon Fake Hunter Haku in attack mode. Fake Hunter Haku Warrior Water LVL. 4. At def, 1600-1400. The same boy in the mask that was summoned in Naruto's last duel appeared on the field. Next I play the spell card Hidden Mist Jutsu, protecting my monster from attacks. The familiar mist rolled onto Naruto's side, hiding his monster from sight. I end my turn." Misawa drew a card. Smirking, he began his counter. Picking a card from his hand, he inserted it into the spell card zone. I activate Cyclone. This card allows me to target one spell or trap card on the field and destroy it. A typhoon appeared in the mist, sucking it away. The holographic card shattered and Naruto put it in his graveyard, gritting his teeth as he did so. Misawa smirked. "I told you it was almost flawless." Next, I summon Bloodvasser in attack mode. Bloodvorce Beast Warrior Dark. At def. 1900-1200, LVL. 4. A monster in intimidating armor with an even more so axe appeared. It glared at Naruto threateningly, causing a bead of sweat to roll down his face. Misawa pointed his finger at Naruto. Bloodvorce, attack Fake Hunter Haku. Rushing towards the Senbon-wielding ninja, the beast warrior swung its axe, bisecting the boy, who released a rather feminine scream. Taking his life point damage, he glared at his rival. Misawa, 4000. Naruto 3800. Misawa ended his turn. Taking a breath to calm himself, Naruto drew a card from his deck. Grinning at what he drew, he picked a card from his hand and summoned it. I summoned Kabuto Yakushi in attack mode. A young man in a purple outfit with silver hair and glasses appeared on the field. Crossing his arm and resting his elbow on it, he adjusted his glasses with a smirk, his glasses glinting dangerously in the sunlight. Kabuto Yakushi Warrior Earth LVL. 4. At def, 1900-1500. Next I play the spell card Brainwashing Brain Control. By paying 800 life points, I can control one of your monsters until my end phase. A card with a brain and 2 hands over it appeared on the field. Misawa, 4000. Naruto 3000. Bloodvorce went over to Naruto's side of the field and a bead of sweat went down Misawa's face. Grinning foxily at his rival, Naruto ordered the 2 monsters to attack, dealing a whopping total of 3800 points of damage. Misawa screamed in pain as the medic nin slashed him with blue glowing hands and his own monster slashing him with its axe. Naruto 3000. Misawa, 200. Misawa fell to one knee, panting from the simulated pain. Slowly, he picked himself up and stood on shaky legs before regaining his balance. Seeing his rival recover, he continued with his turn. Now I play the spell card Ito Tensei. By removing from play one monster on my side of the field, I can special summon a monster from my graveyard and I sacrifice Bloodvorce to special summon Fake Hunter Haku in attack mode. Bloodvorce started to flake away and got sucked in a coffin that rose from the ground. When the flakes went inside the coffin, the door slammed shut, it shook a little and the door crashed to the ground, revealing Haku to be standing within it. Stepping out of the coffin, Haku stood next to Kabuto. The coffin went back underground. And with that I'll end my turn. He finished with a grin. Misawa looked at Naruto with a renewed sense of respect and before he even drew his next card, he put his hand across his duel disc and said, "I surrender, there is no chance of me winning, so I'll take my loss." Blinking in surprise, Naruto groaned and deactivated his duel disc. "Come on Misawa, really? At least see it to the end." Grinning at his rival's childishness, the black-haired boy began to walk back to the dorm for the welcome dinner. Looking back over his shoulder, he called back to Naruto. "Come on fish cake, we have to get to the welcome dinner." Growling at his rival, Naruto ran after him, eyes white with rage. "It means Maelstrom," he screamed. Misawa blinked before sweating nervously and running off. The screams of rage and cries of terror could be heard all across the island. I'm sorry. Get back here so I can comically beat you. Chapter 3 Midnight Encounter. It was the first night of the school year and the three dorms were having their welcoming parties. The Obelisk Blue dorm were having a posh gathering in the separate male and female dorms, drinking questionable drinks out of wine glasses. At the Raw Yellow dorm, they were enjoying a very expensive dinner along giant tables. Everyone was laughing and having a good time. Naruto especially was having a blast as he was somehow simultaneously scarfing down plate after plate and discussing deck strategies with Misawa. The resident genius was staring at his friend in awe disgust as he ate an entire lobster in a single bite while telling him about one of his strategies. And then munch munch I put down a face down and nom nom, wait for them to attack and choo choo he said, polishing of a whole ham. The people on his table were also staring at him, appalled at his eating habits but also impressed at his solid strategy. It irked them, however, that he didn't drop a single card name during his ramble. When he glared at them for eavesdropping they all quickly turned back to their meals and Naruto nodded in satisfaction and went back to his food. The spectral being behind him face-palmed itself at the boy's manners and vanished, shaking its head while doing so. Flicking a few grains of rice of his shoulder, Misawa asked the gluttonous blonde a question. So, Naruto, you mentioned earlier that you knew Pegasus J. Crawford. At his question, everyone stopped eating, looking at Naruto in shocked awe. Looking up from his plate, Naruto slurped up his ramen noodles and answered. Yeah, what about it? Everyone in the room fell of their chairs at the answer. Getting up, Misawa held back from face-palming and reiterated the question. Yes, but how do you know him? Misawa asked, emphasizing the how. Naruto blinked then turned back to his dinner. Oh, he's the one who taught me how to duel. After a few seconds of silence everyone jumped back in their chairs shouting eee. Glaring at them for making such a racket, which made them all shut up, Naruto went back to his meal. Deciding they didn't want another death glare from hell the Raw Yellow students went back to their food and previous conversations. Misawa sighed, obviously he wasn't going to get a straight answer anytime soon, and went back to his meal in resignation. Naruto was walking around the academy, rubbing his stomach in satisfaction. He was, to simply put it, lost. He had stayed behind longer than everyone else to eat more and when he was finished realized that he was alone. Since it was dark and Naruto had no sense of direction, he had somehow managed to wind up in the main building instead of his dorm room like he originally intended. Looking at his watch he whistled, how did it get to midnight so quickly? Taking a left, he noticed a light was on. Aha. Someone must be there and they can tell me where to go. Happy with his plan, the whiskered duelist made his way to the light. When he got there, he noticed some Obelisk Blue students standing on the duel field. Before he could make his way other to them to ask for directions, he noticed a for some reason in red Kurobo head and his little blue sidekick enter from the other side. Quickly hiding in the stands, he watched the exchange before him. How good of you to come, number 110. The boy with the incredibly spiky hair, whose name Naruto was pretty sure was Manlady Jim or something like that, said to the slacker. The Kurobo head chuckled. AN people will be referred to as nicknames or observations until Naruto actually hears their names. I'd have no reason not to come once I'm told about a duel. Making his way to the arena, ignoring his sidekick's protests, the boy prepared to duel. The two of them stood opposite of each other staring the other down. The arrogant obelisk spoke up. You're going to show me either the dumb luck or skill that beat Professor Chronos. Naruto looked on with renewed interest since he too wanted to see which of the two it was. Right. And I've wanted to know just how skilled the elites of the Duel Academy are. So the Obelisk Blue was some sort of elite. Naruto sweat dropped at this, how can someone be an elite if they just entered the school? Either the obelisk was extremely arrogant or someone be trolling blinking at the words anti-rule. He leaned further over the rail he was standing behind to get a closer look. The two duelists started up their disc and declared duel. The arrogant obelisk declared he was going first and dramatically drew a card. I summon Reborn Zombie in defense mode. A monster with long blue hair, gaunt face and skeletal arm and leg appeared in a kneeling position. Reborn Zombie Dark LVL. 4. At def 1600s. I place a face down and end my turn. The obelisk blue smirked and his thoughts unknowingly mirrored Naruto's. Duels contain the element of luck as long as there's drawing. However, what decides a match is a strategy based in careful calculations. The obelisk blue spoke out loud now, obelisk blue against Osiris red, the difference in our intellect has already determines the outcome of this. Naruto nodded in agreement but stopped when he heard the Osiris's response. You can't play a duel in your head. My blazing heart will take you on. He said with a determined look on his face. Naruto raised a brow at his declaration. Although what he said was partially true, there are some people, like his rival Misawa, who can calculate how a duel will go from the first card played. And blazing heart, god how corny. Bringing his attention back to the duel, he saw the Kurobo head activate fusion, a pretty stupid move, seeing as the obelisk had a face down, and if Naruto guessed correctly, one that did not bode well for the Osiris Red. I fused together Elemental Hero Featherman and Burstlety to summon Elemental Hero Flame Wingman in attack mode. Elemental Hero Flame Wingman Warrior Wind LVL. 6. At def, 2100-1200. The winged hero appeared in a burst of light with a roar. The Osiris grinned, somehow still holding its card. Alright. This is my favorite card. The obelisk blue jumped straight to action. I've caught you already it seems. He said smirking. The Kurobo head responded with a confused what? The obelisk closed his eyes with a smirk on his face. I've already thoroughly analyzed your entry exam duel. Duels are all about brains. He finished loudly. Naruto sniggered. It was pretty ironic that he said that, seeing as he has a zombie and all. The arrogant blue activated his trap card that just so happened to be Hell Polymerhe, just as I thought. Naruto smirked. The blue-haired midget repeated the name in confusion. A voice sounded from behind him. It's basic knowledge to a duelist. Naruto nearly fell over the rail in surprise. It was the goddess he saw at the entrance exams. She walked up to the arena. When your opponent summons a fusion monster, you can gain control of that monster. By sacrificing one monster on your field, a voice said behind them. The two of them jumped in surprise, turning around to see Naruto leaning against the wall with his eyes closed. Oh yeah, baddest entrance, check. The inactive Osiris and obelisk looked at him in surprised confusion. Where did he come from? They quickly recognized him as the guy whose duel was epic in the entrance exams, only to be overshadowed by the Kurobo heads. If one had already known Naruto's previous position, they would be looking from it to his current one in shock. Getting over his shock, the sidekick asked him what that meant. Rolling his eyes at the midget's idiocy, Naruto just pointed back to the arena, where the current duelists hadn't even noticed the new arrivals, or arrival, seeing as Naruto was there the whole time. I sacrifice reborn zombie to gain control of Flame Wingman. In a show of light and fire, the elemental hero went over to Manlady Jim's side of the field. The midget yelled in surprise. His monster got taken. Naruto rolled his eyes. They just told him what was going to happen, why was he so surprised? The obelisk proceeded to explain his move for those of a less intelligent disposition. I knew that a fusion monster finished Professor Chronos off in your battle with him, so I had that trap set. I can't believe that you'd step your way right into my trap without even knowing that. You're a typical Osiris Red. He finished with a chuckle. Naruto smirked at his words, seems the Kurobo head got in by dumb luck after all. The Osiris Red kept his cool, but couldn't hide the bead of sweat down the side of his face. A fusion summons a special summon, so I can still normal summon this turn. The Osiris looked at his hand worriedly, and Naruto doubted the boy had any monsters that could overcome Flame Wingman, and, no matter what he does, Flame Wingman's effect will damage him, even if it doesn't attack directly, he mused. Naruto turned to go, his leaving comment catching the attention of his two fellow observers. Well, I've seen all I need to see. I doubt such a slacker could beat that guy. Before he could leave, the midget spoke up to defend his Aniki. Shut up. Aniki can beat that guy, just you see. Not even acknowledging the words, the blonde went to leave but stopped and turned around, a sheepish expression on his face. Oh, could you guys tell me how to get to the raw yellow dorm from here? The midget sweat dropped, but the goddess smirked. Sure, we'll tell you, as long as you stick around till the end. Raising a brow, Naruto shrugged and turned back to stand next to her. Not only would he get directions, but he can hang with a hot girl, what idiot would pass that up? Fine, but I stand by what I said earlier. The goddess just smirked and they all turned back to the duel, where the Kurobo head had summoned a monster in defense mode. Elemental Hero Clayman Warrior Earth LVL. 4. At def. 800-2000s. The arrogant obelisk drew a card and summoned Hell Soldier in attack mode. Hell Soldier Warrior Dark LVL. 4. At def. 1200-1400. A man in bluish-purple armor with a big curved sword and a spikyish shield appeared next to Flame Wingman. Go, Flame Wingman. Flame shoot. The obelisk blue ordered with a flourish. The controlled monster jumped in the air and did a fire-covered dive towards the Kurobo head's claimant. The monster was destroyed, and the obelisk explained the monster's effect. Due to Flame Wingman's monster effect, the attack of the destroyed opposing monster is dealt as damage to the opposing player. The Kurobo head looked surprised at the explanation of his own monster's effect. Seriously, how stupid is he? Naruto though, and Flame Wingman appeared in front of him, its claw opening and shooting fire at the Osiris Red. He screamed in pain as his life points diminished from the blaze. Manlady Jim 4000. Kurobo head, 3200. You don't have a single monster left to defend you. Hell Soldier, Hell Attack. The warrior suddenly appeared in front of the Osiris Red, slashing at him with its sword. The boy fell to his knees, clutching his body as he groaned in pain. Manlady Jim 4000. Kurobo head, 2000. The black spiky-haired elite held his fist up victoriously. By putting a stop to your fusion monster, you're already out of options, it seems. I don't know how you were in your small town, but you're not at the level you need to make it in the Duel Academy. Got that yet? And damn manjam, you're awesome and all, but man are your monologues annoying to type. I set a card on the field, ending my turn. Now it's your turn. The Osiris Red shoulders shook and made strange noises. Is he crying? Naruto wondered. Apparently, Manlady thought so too and voiced it. Shedding tears of regret, are we, number 110. But despite what the two thought, he was not crying, he was in fact laughing. Ahahahaha. I'm touched. Yeah, in the head. Bjorn. What? The obelisk blue said, shocked at the Kurobo head's reaction. The Duel Academy sure is fun. There's a bunch of guys like you around here, aren't there? This is going to be great. The teen said, grinning happily. What was that? Naruto grinned, that was something they could both agree on, this duel was firing him up and he couldn't wait to duel someone himself. Misawa didn't count. My turn, draw. I summon elemental hero Sparkman. A man in blue and yellow armor appeared in a flash of electricity and a battle cry. Elemental hero Sparkman warrior light LVL. 4. At def, 1600-1400. Dramatically punching forward, the Kurobo head ordered his hero to attack with spark flash. The warrior shot a beam of electricity at Hell Soldier, destroying it and dealing 400 points of damage to his opponent. Manlady Jim 3600. Kurobo head, 2000. However, out from the dust cloud flew Hell Soldier's sword, which span a few times before flying out and hitting the Osiris Red directly. Manlady Jim 3600. Kurobo head, 1600. The blue smirked, its monster effect activates. Hell Soldier has an effect that deals the same damage its player took to the opposing player when it's destroyed. The boy grunted in pain and his sidekick called at him worriedly. The goddess spoke to the boy, your big brother is mighty spirited but pretty careless. Naruto snorted, yeah, what idiot just disregards a monster effect like that? Deciding to just ignore the blonde, the blue-haired midget corrected the busty girl. Judai-kun isn't my real brother. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Judai, that's his name. Huh, it's oddly fitting. How could you put it well, he's my spiritual brother. The beautiful girl just blinked and looked back at the duel. Naruto was lost in thought. Spiritual brothers, he thought, remembering a certain stoic teen. Looking back up he noticed the Osiris had placed a face down and ended his turn. He seems confident, must be a trap. The arrogant teen didn't seem to notice it. I'm sure to win with my next attack. I draw my card. Go Flame Wingman. Naruto's eyes widened at the arrogance of the elite, wasn't he even the least bit suspicious of that face down? I activate the trap card. Different dimensional tunnel mirror gate. Try saying that 3 times fast. The elite stared at it in horror. What is this? The blue midget was, surprise, ignorant of the trap card's effect. Naruto decided to enlighten him, despite his own shock. It's a card that can be activated when 2 monsters attack each other. It switches your opponent's attacking monster with your targeted monster and makes them fight. Despite the situation, the female blonde looked at him, slightly impressed at his card knowledge. The Kurobo he Judai, Naruto corrected himself, ordered Flame Wingman to destroy Sparkman's sparkling breaker. Sparkman disappeared in a flash of light and the obelisk blue screamed in pain as his life points decreased. Manlady Jim 3100. Judai 1600. Next up, due to Flame Wingman's monster effect, the attack of the opposing monster is dealt to my opponent. Flame Wingman's extended hand glowed blue before blasting the elite with a lightning burst, causing him to scream in agony once again. Judai 1600. Manlady Jim 1500. The midget fist pump. That's my Nikki for you. The only girls present watched on, making a weird noise. He's pretty good, huh? She commented. Naruto snorted. That only worked due to the obelisk blue's arrogance. If it was him he'd have destroyed that trap and won the duel. It didn't mean anything, any idiot could do that. You're so cool, Aniki, the sidekick shouted, raising his fist. Judai gave a peace sign over his shoulder. The busty blonde chuckled. What a cut up. The spiky-haired elite growled at Judai, why you? Don't get too ahead of yourself there, you freaking Osiris Red dropout. With yet another flourish he picked a spell card from his hand, showing it to everyone. I activate the spell card, Hell Blast. A windy swirl appeared before him. During the turn a monster under my control is destroyed. It destroys 1 monster on the field, dealing damage equal to half that monster's attack. The swirl also appeared under Flame Wingman, and the wind hit it, destroying it, dealing damage to Judai's life points. Flame Wingman. He muttered. Manlady Jim 1500. Judai 550. Next I activate the trap card, Call of the Living Dead. This card selects a monster card from my graveyard and special summons it in attack mode. And I'll summon Hell Soldier. Then, I sacrifice Hell Soldier to summon Hell General Mephisto. In a cloud of darkness a giant man in black armor, long blonde hair and riding a black armored horse appeared. El General Mephisto Fiend Dark LVL. 5. At Def, 1800-1700. One way or another, it appears I've clinched my win. And according to the anti-rule, I'll take your best card. Naruto smirked, now that was a good move. Even if it was a bitch to type. Yudai smirked, we'll see about that. What? A duel is determined with 99% intelligence, with luck its part is a mere 1%. Naruto frowned. Actually, luck had a much bigger part than that. If you draw a bad first hand the entire duel can go against your favor. You can't pull the strategies without the right cards, after all. He looked at Yudai and saw he was talking to a card. He raised an intrigued brow, could he see spirits too? He looked to his left and saw his own dual spirit besides him, nodding its head at the question it knew he was thinking. Naruto turned back to Yudai, eyes narrowed in curiosity. How interesting. Yudai looked up from his card. I'll risk it all on that 1%. My draw will call out a miracle. My turn. Draw. Naruto turned his head towards the entrance, hearing footsteps. The blonde goddess obviously heard them too because she called out to the duelists, the security guards are coming. The two deactivated their discs, ending the duel with the anti-rule being forbidden by school regulation, and by using a facility after hours you could get expelled for breaking regulations. The midget and Yudai gasped, huh? There are regulations like that? Naruto facepalmed and the girl pulled out her PDA thingy. Didn't you read your student personal planner? So that's what these things are called, Naruto thought, staring at his own. One of the obelisk's lackeys called out to him, Manjam-san, this is bad. Manjam. Yudai was close. Manjam turned, that's enough for tonight. I'll take care of my win. Yudai protested, the match isn't over yet. He yelled. That's plenty. You've shown me how capable you are. Apparently, your entry exam was just dumb luck. Manjam said, walking away with his lackeys. Yudai, mad and indignant motion, quit messing around. The midget called out to him, Aniki, they're going to catch us. Yudai turned around to look at his three observers, blinking in surprise at the unnoticed, to him, third. The blonde female and blue midget urged him to hurry up, but the idiot was too stubborn to move. Naruto and the midget grabbed him by the jacket and dragged him out the room, the sole female following them. They made it to the front of the academy and the two boys let go of Yudai. The blonde girl was facing away from them, looking over her shoulder with her arms crossed. For crying out loud, you're quite the hassle, aren't you? Naruto snorted, chi, more like quite the idiot. DCH, I don't need your opinion, Yudai said with his eyes closed. The blue midget at least had some manners and thanked her. She smiled. So how did that harsh ordeal from Obelisk Blue feel? Yudai smiled, okay, I guess. But I thought I could have gone on a little longer. Naruto just snorted and started to walk off. Why? So you could get your ass handed to you and lose your best card. You should be thankful those guards showed up. I'm outta here. As he started to walk away, Yudai said something to him that made him stop. Nope, I had that duel won. Turning around, he decided to humor the deluded fool. Really, how so? He asked, a bored look on his face. Yudai just grinned and showed him a card. Naruto's and the girl's eyes widened as they saw Resurrection of the Dead. They looked at him with wide eyes as he smirked and walked off, his loyal sidekick following him as always. The two looked as they walked away. Naruto grinned and turned to Asuka. Well, he just might not be as useless as I originally thought. She turned to him and nodded her agreement. He grinned foxily. So, I never caught your name, he trailed off. She smiled. Asuka. Ten joined Asuka. Naruto's grin grew and extended a hand. Nice to meet you, Asuka-san, name's Uzumaki Naruto, Dadabeo. His grin quickly morphed to a look of horror. Oh god, please forget you heard that. He begged. Asuka giggled slightly. Don't worry, I'll try. She said, amused. Naruto grinned again. Well, as much as I'd like to stay with such a beauty on a night like this, I must be off. Turning around, he missed her barely. Their blush, so tiny even she didn't notice it. After a few steps, he turned around once again, smiling. Oh yeah, you owe me some directions. Laughing slightly, she pointed. Following her finger, he saw the dorm right away. Sweat dropping, he thanked her, and briskly, trying to save some face. Asuka giggled again and watched him walk away. Uzumaki Naruto, huh, he just might be interesting. She giggled again quietly. And Dadabeo, how cute. Smirking, she made her way back to her dorm, thinking over the night's events. Naruto collapsed on his bed. The whole sneaking and running thing really took it out of him. He hasn't done that in years. Thinking about Yudai, his eyes narrowed. Although he said otherwise to Asuka, his opinion of the Kurobo head hadn't changed at all. If it hadn't have been interrupted, the outcome of that duel would have once again been sheer dumb luck. Even though he didn't agree with Manjam's 99% intelligence, 1% luck thing, he knew most of dueling was strategy, and Yudai seemed to rely on 99% luck and 1% strategy, if that. Shaking his head, he decided he wasn't worth thinking about further and drifted off to questionable dreams about a certain blonde obelisk blue. The obelisk blue elite and his lackeys stopped in front of their dorm, the lackeys panting for breath. The blue-haired one straightened up and spoke to Manjam-san, that was an incredibly victory, that red dropout was nothing compared to you. He said, in his usual sucking up manner, his companion nodding madly. Manjam smirked. Of course he wasn't. Besides, I'm more interested in that raw yellow. Blinking, the two lackeys looked at each other in confusion before a look of realization appeared and they turned back, the spiky-haired one speaking. You mean Uzumaki Naruto? He was the guy who annihilated that test duelist like it was nothing. He said, the blue-haired one nodding. Manjam smirked again before walking into the dorm. Uzumaki, there's no way I'll let you take my number one spot away from me. When it comes to it he opened his eyes, grinning viciously. I'll take you down. Chapter end. Chapter 4 A shocking duel. The battle to save the peeping Tom. After an eventful night, Naruto was enjoying a nice long lie-in to regain his energy. PFFFFT, yeah right. In reality, Naruto was hoping for a nice long lie-in to regain his energy, but he was rudely, in his opinion, awakened by his best friend, Misawa Daichi. After a scuffle with some swearing and a cartony dust cloud, Naruto was walking to class with Misawa, the two of them rubbing bruises, the former grumbling under his breath and the latter smirking. Naruto sent a sideway glare at his rival. There are better way to wake a guy, you know. Normal people don't shake someone awake. They pour freezing cold water on them, obviously. Misawa's sweat dropped at his friend's statement. I think your definition of normal is a bit off, he thought. Deciding he didn't want to know what set that precedent for the blonde, he just walked on silently while hoping he never slept in late. As they made their way to the classroom, Naruto decided to fill Misawa in on the previous night's events. And then the security guards came and we had to leg it out of there. And when we got outside he revealed that he luckily drew Resurrection of the Dead. I tell you Misawa, that kid got in on sheer dumb luck. He said, waving his arms to emphasize his point. Misawa raised a brow at the blonde's explanation and grinned mischievously. So, Naruto, he started, causing his friend to turn to him with a raised brow. How was it spending time with the Tenjoin Asuka? He asked, wiggling his eyebrow suggestively. Naruto stared for a few moments before grinning widely. Throwing his arms behind his head, he closed his eyes, grin still in place. He carried on walking. Well my friend, it was pretty damn sweet. The best thing about is that while we were escaping, she was running in front of me. Kekekekekekeki. He began to laugh creepily, causing the other students to move out of the raw duo's way and giving Misawa a small nosebleed at the mental image. Quickly wiping it away as he saw the door to the classroom, he nudged his neighbor to make him shut up. Opening his eyes, he groaned at seeing the classroom. He forgot that going to a school that teaches children how to play a children's trading card game would actually involve attending classes. At that though he realized how dumb an idea that actually was, but then again, it's the dumb ideas that work best after all. Entering the classroom they took their seats in the middle of the right row and waited for class to start. Looking around, Naruto came to the realization that they were the only ones there. Eye twitching, he turned to Misawa who was smiling. As they say, the early bird catches the worm. He said cheerfully. Growling, Naruto put his head on the desk and closed his eyes. Yeah, well this bird is catching up on some sleep. Don't wake me up when class starts or I may not be able to stop myself from punching you. Chuckling nervously at the blonde, the genius gave an affirmative and the blonde drifted off to dreams about ramen. Sweet, sweet ramen. Naruto was having the weirdest dream about a giant bowl of ramen that was doing the caramel dancing before he was knocked out of his dreams by a physical knock to the head. Bolting upright he looked around for the dead asshole who did it before looking at Professor Kronos who was glaring at him, holding a ruler. If you are quite ready, Signor Uzumaki, we'll start the class. He said, gritting his teeth. Naruto rubbed the back of his head with a sheepish grin as the obelisk blues and some of the raw yellows laughed at him. Turning around, he gave them his death glare from hell, which immediately made them all shut up and all the raw yellows shiver in fear. After he turned away, Asuka giggled silently at his antics before she heard her name being called. Signor Asuka, could you please list of the different card types please? Standing up she gave her answer. Among dual monsters cards, there are normal monster cards, fusion monster cards, ritual monster cards, effect monster cards, and trap and magic cards. Next, trap cards can be split into normal traps, counter traps, and permanent traps. And magic cards into normal magic, permanent magic, instant magic, ritual magic and field magic. The eerily effeminate man clapped his hands in delight. Bellissimo. A superb job. It was a task far too simple for Obelisk Blue's Signor Asuka, was it not? Rolling his eyes at the blatant show of ass-kissing the professor did to his students, Naruto closed his eyes and leant back. It was sickening, it reminded him of the academy teaches and how they fawned over Sasuke, except this was with an entire dorm, so it was much worse. It's just the basics, Asuka said, sitting back down. The professor looked around the classroom now, then his gaze settled on Judai's little blue sidekick Signor Marufuji, huh, sounds familiar. Naruto mused. I think I'll stick with blue midget. The Slifer Red stood up, letting out a nervous yes. The professor positioned himself in front of the nervous Red. Please explain to us what field magic does. Field magic is Willarum, he stuttered, standing ramrod straight. An obelisk blue from the back row called out obnoxiously. Even a kindergartner knows something like that. Causing the vast majority of the obelisk blues to burst out laughing. Naruto's eyes narrowed, no one should be laughed at like that. Taking pity on the boy, he stood up and spoke in a clear voice. Field magic cards have the advantage of being able to change the entire state of play for both you and your opponent's side of the field. Most cards center on boosting attack or defense, or both, for cards with specific attributes or types. They are spell speed 1. Most field magic cards have effects that focus on things other than just attack and defense boosts, and some only apply to your cards or side of the field. Everyone looked at him in awe for quickly rattling off such detailed information. They were so shocked that they completely forgot about Marufuji's humiliation, something he quickly took advantage of and sat down quickly, sending the raw yellow a thankful glance. Naruto grinned at Kronos. Is that sufficient, professor? 'Cause I can go on if not. Staring at the boy in shock, he just shook his head, which Naruto took as a cue to sit back down. The professor quickly gathered himself back together for another nasty comment to Marufuji. Well, as one would expect from a raw yellow, the difference of intelligence between Red and the other dorms has been shown. To think you were unable to answer the very basics among basics. Well done, Slifer Red. You've shocked me. The class burst into laughter once more and Naruto gritted his teeth, his epic save was just ruined. Suddenly Judai spoke up. But professor, knowledge and actual combat are two unrelated matters, aren't they? I mean, I'm one of the Slifer Reds as well, but I beat you in a duel, professor. The man bit on his handkerchief in an effort to remain calm. Mamma mia. The class burst out laughing again, this time at the professor. Even Naruto couldn't help but grin at the Kurobo head's remark. For some reason, looking at Asuka, he saw her smiling at the Slifer dropout, her head on her hand, and the grin fell off instantly. The pencil that suddenly appeared in his hand broke dramatically as he sent a small glare at Judai, straight back to full on hating the boy. Miss Awa looked at him oddly, wondering just where the hell that pencil came from. Shrugging, he looked at where he was glaring, then up at Asuka, and being the genius that he was, put 2 and 2 together and got 4. Filing this away and trolling blackmail, he turned his attention back to the professor, who had regained his calm and carried on with his lecture. Later, they were sitting in, wait for it, alchemy class of all things. As the teacher spoke, Naruto's eye twitched at the idiocy of it all. Okay, he thought, face palming, what the hell is Kaiba doing with this school? Does he even care, or did he let Jinoichi help out or something? Deciding to ask the man himself next time he saw him, he sent his focus back to the teacher. Transform and shape ordinary substances into complete substances. Naya. Originally starting in ancient Egypt, passing through Arabia and introduced to Europe, he stopped, turning to Judai and his sidekick. Marufuji-kun, he called, causing the boy to stand up nervously once again. Naruto rolled his eyes. He wasn't getting him out of this one. Why yes, sensei. The teacher smiled. Could you fetch Pharaoh for me? The Pharaoh? My cat Naya. A meow sound could be heard, and the blue midget looked down to see a fat brown cat rubbing against his leg. Meow. The next class was PE, where the boys were standing in the middle of a room wearing tracksuits. Naruto looked down at himself, why the hell they were wearing such lame clothes. They reminded Hai of a certain jumpsuit of the shade of orange, the memory causing him to shiver. Seriously, Kaiba needs to sort this shit out, Naruto thought. In the boys' changing room, Kronos was crawling around, get it, opening different lockers. Where could that dropout boy's shoes be? Where could they? Leaving the questionably pedophilic man, at least, one would think that if they saw him right now, to do his thing, we go back to the sport hall, where the PE teacher entered the room. Naruto couldn't help but stare. Was it a general rule that all females had to be hot in order to work study here? Ha ha ha, foreshadowing for a humorous future reaction, man, I'm good. Hello everyone, I am Akawaimi, and as of today, I will be teaching you health and physical education. Pleased to meet you all. Naruto grinned. You can teach me physically any day. A small drop of blood fell from his nose. I would totally duel her. And by duel I mean have sex. He wiped his nose quickly before anyone noticed. Hearing a faint, surprised yell, he looked towards the changing rooms before shrugging and deciding he didn't care. He'd already done his good deed for the day. Thank you very much. Thinking about it, he still hadn't gotten a thank you or anything from that. Looks like he has to crack some skulls. At the end of the lesson, a loud obnoxious voice rang out behind him. Hey, number 2's friend. Turning around, he saw none other than Judai approach him. Great, what does that girl stealing git want? The Red stopped in front of him. Thanks for trying to help Shu out earlier. Blinking for a few seconds, he realized that was Marufuji's first name and closed his eyes. DCH, don't be so thankful, I didn't do it for him. I just hate it when others laugh at someone for their academic skills, that's all. He said, turning away from Judai. Said boy blinked before grinning. Sounds like you did it for him to me. He exclaimed with his eyes closed. Naruto's opened as he looked at the ground. Phantoms of his past echoed through his mind. Dope. As if he could become a ninja. Get out of here, dope. Gritting his teeth, he walked of TCH, don't look so deep into it, their laughter was just getting on my nerves. He muttered, walking away and leaving a confused Judai behind as he made his way to the bathhouse. Looking around, Naruto found himself once again completely lost. Goddammit, how the hell did this happen again? He screamed angrily. Well, maybe walking around blindly with a towel on your head isn't exactly the best idea, said a voice from his pocket. Pulling out a card, he glared at it. DCH, if I wanted your opinion I would have asked for it. The card glowed, letting out a girlish giggle before dimming, going silent once more. Giving it one last glare, he pocketed it and examined the surrounding area. He raised a brow when he realized he was near the obelisk blue girl's dorm. Sweating nervously, he looked around to make sure no one was around to see him. Letting out a sigh of relief, a perverted grin appeared on his face, which was quickly knocked off when he heard a noise. Ahem. Turning around he saw his dual spirit glaring at him, the look on her face murderous. Uzumaki Naruto. Don't you even think of it. He rolled his eyes. Geez, why do you have to be such a downer, Nahaku? He said looking at the spiritual girl before him. She was dressed, not in the clothes her card showed, but instead a pink kimono with her hair loose. That's right. Femhaku is Naruto's dual spirit. If you don't like it, deal with it. She snorted, well, excuse me if I don't want you peeking on girls, and if you get kicked out for being a perv you'll be expelled. Then you'll be all whiny about it and won't shut up for weeks, well Pegasus and Kaiba laugh at you about it. She said, finishing with a big intake in of breath. Naruto blinked for a while before grinning. Oh come on Haku, there's no way I of all people will be caught. I used to be a ninja after all. He said, turning around and making his way to the baths. Muttering something about killing that white-haired buffoon, Haku vanished, giving up and deciding to let him face the consequences himself. Naruto was sneaking along the giant lake that was at the blue dorm. He looked to the center of it when he heard a high-pitched yell. To his surprise he saw Marufuji Shu rowing a boat towards the dorm. Eyes glinting viciously, he imagined a scenario in his head. Naruto's fantasy. A large group of beautiful girls in towels were sitting in a hot spring, talking and laughing. In a nearby bush, the blue-haired perv midget was spying on them, giggling perversely. Suddenly, a voice yelled out behind him. Aha! Got ya, you perverted little rat. The girls all looked towards the bushes where a blindfold-clad Naruto stepped out, with Shu tied up in ropes. Naruto smiled apologetically. Sorry ladies, but I was taking a moonlight stroll when I noticed this little pervert coming over here. Putting on a blindfold to protect your modesty, I came over and grabbed the little shit. I'll be taking him away for his punishment now. The girls all looked at each other before dropping their towels. One of them approached him, reaching out for his blindfold. Oh, but Naruto-sama, won't you stay for a while? We need your assistance in getting over this horrific trauma. Grinning as his blindfold fell off, he threw the slifer red over his shoulder. Well, when you put it that way. Naruto's fantasy end. Breaking into a fit of perverted giggles, Naruto went onwards at an increased speed. Sorry blue midget, but sacrifices must be made for my greater good. He cackled, blood dripping down his nose. Haku facepumped before following him, she had to make sure he didn't make a fool of himself, or worse, get expelled. Finally getting there, he raised a brow at the already open gate and the broken lock. Shrugging, he carried on, too excited over his plan to take notice. Hiding in a bush, he noticed that Professor Kronos was also hiding in one. Oh my god, Kronos is a pedo. He thought in disgust before he heard the man's plan. The ho-ho, this is exactly behind the girls' dorm's bathhouse. I'll see that dropout boy as he blindly arrives here, unbeknownst to that. And if I get a quick snap if I get him in a picture, then it'll be irrefutable proof of that pervert boy peeping into the ladies' bath to anyone's eye. And then, that dropout boy will be expelled, resulting in his farewell from this academy. Adios. That's Spanish ciao. Naruto looked on blankly, the man was an idiot. Not only judging by who he saw on the boat did the man trick the wrong person, but how would he explain the picture? The only way he could take it is if he was also there, and he would have to explain his plan, for if he didn't he would be arrested for being a pedophile. Damn, I keep dropping the P-bomb don't I? And when he does explain it, he'll be fired for trying to frame one of his students. Now, Naruto could go over there and point this out to him, but not only would he get in trouble, he also wanted to see if it would work. After all, he did hate the Slifer Red and it would clear the field to get Asuka. A secret alliance was born between the two of them to get Yuki Judai expelled. Haku once again shook her head at his thoughts. He was acting extremely out of character. Oh well, she thought, he'll snap out of it later, he always gets carried away like this. Straining his ears, Naruto could just about hear the conversation in the bathhouse. Anyway, it looks like none of the boys who enrolled this year are any good. Especially that Yuki Judai. He's noisy, crass, and cocky. Naruto smirked. Got it in one, not that I consider him in that way at all, he thought, shivering slightly at the end. His ears perked up at the continued conversation. Right, Asuka-san. I don't really care about him. Naruto's heart soared in glee. Ha. Protagonist 1, side character 0. Hey Asuka-san. That Misawa from Raw Yellow is quite the man, isn't he? And what about his friend, Uzumaki Naruto, he's cute. Naruto twitched. Cute. He was not cute, he was manly. He heard a noise of what sounded like agreement from Asuka. Leaning in closer he carried on listening. What's that Asuka-san, you think so too? The other two girls squealed loudly, causing the two nearby men to cover their ears in pain, which had the unfortunate side effect of Naruto missing out on Asuka's response. A shuffling noise from the left caused the two hiding to look over. The two hid deeper in the bushes. Chronos grinning viciously and Naruto watching silently. If Shu got caught, he just knew that some circumstances would involve Judai coming along. By this point Naruto didn't even know where the plan was going now, he was just going with the flow. So, he's arrived. That dropout boy is flying right into the flame. When Shu walked in his line of sight, Chronos jumped out of the bush yelling, somehow not being seen or heard by the boy supposedly right in front of him. What is this? Why is it Signor Marufuji? Even though the person right in front of him didn't hear him, someone inside did. Someone walked outside in her pajamas. Who's there? Chronos looked in horror. Oh no. The group of girls in pajamas appeared outside. A peeping Tom. Pervert. Pervert. Chronos covered his face in an attempt to hide his identity and Naruto moved some branches in front of him to hide himself better. Why, you can't be serious. If this keeps up, I'll be the one who's expelled. Chronos exclaimed, running off, his hand still covering his face, only to slip and fall in the lake, and Naruto facepalmed at the man's stupidity. As it turns out, Chronos was somehow not the one spotted, but the blue midget. He was quickly overwhelmed and looked up from his kneeling position to see Asuka's two friends in towels glaring at him. There's no place left to run, you pervert. The brown-haired one said. The girls picked him up and took him inside the dorm. Naruto snuck in after them, taking refuge behind a pillar that miraculously hid him from view. The only ones left were Asuka and her two friends, and the blue midget was kneeling in front of them. The soon-to-be-dead or possible viciously maimed Slifer Red quickly gave an explanation to why he was there. Wait, a love letter from Asuka, you say? Naruto raised a brow. Chronos' bait was actually pretty damn smart. What typical hormonal teenage boy would decline such an invitation from Asuka of all people? Yep, the Slifer said, eye smiling. The brunette frowned. What a dope. There's no way that Asuka, the queen of Obelisk Blue, would write a love letter to an Osiris Red like you. Naruto nodded in agreement. Asuka had much more class than that, she'd write one to a dashing Raw Yellow like himself. The brunette disagreed. I'm not lying. It was in my locker and said I'll wait for you behind the girls' dorm. See, he said, the letter being grabbed of him by the brunette, who showed it to Asuka, who frowned. She glared at the boy. I wouldn't write such vulgar words. The black-haired girl spoke for the first time. It seems the men of Osiris Red don't even know that, she said, eyes closed. Then who in the world, the boy wondered. The brunette looked at the letter again. What's this? This is addressed to Yuki Judai. Naruto facepalmed again, the kid was a complete moron. Rubbing his face, he noted that unless he stopped reacting like this to every single stupid thing he saw or heard lately, his face was going to get very sore. Shu gasped. Wah? And no way. The brunette turned the paper around. Yes way. I can't believe you were lured by some fake love letter and came here without any concern. Naruto could, he'd already seen the midget's stupidity firsthand. And to top it off, it was all a mistake. This is depressing. You reap what you sow. Isn't that the truth? Let's have this reported to the academy. Peeping into the bathhouse is as shameless as you possible get. I said I didn't peep. Naruto shook his head, this was pitiful. Suddenly the health and physical education teacher approached the banister. Everyone's out here together, so what's the commotion? If this wasn't such a serious situation, Naruto would have been admiring her dressing gown. The girls gasped. Asuka turned to the two of her friends. Mamo Junko. Suddenly the three girls pushed Shu's head down and SAT on IT. Naruto gaped in shock and jealousy, that lucky little bastard. The girls laughed nervously. Did something happen? The teacher asked. Asuka raised her hands. No, nothing at all. Sorry for making such noise. She apologized. The teacher leaned over the banister. I see. Well then, you should all return to your rooms and get some sleep. She then left. Naruto wiped a bead of sweat from his forehead. She had been directly in front of him. The girls got off Shu's head. Asuka-san. I have a plan in mid. She crossed her arms under her chest and Naruto wished he could see the result of that action, but alas, she was turned away from him. Someone had intended on calling out Yuki Judai under my name and set him up as a pervert. She took out her SPP and recorded a message. We have Marufuji Shu. If you want him back, come to the girls' dorm. Okay, change voice and send. This should lure him over here. Asuka said smirking and they dragged the tiny slifer outside. Naruto maneuvered himself around the pillar as they went to the door so they wouldn't see him. After they left, Naruto turned to his now visible dual spirit. What did you reckon, wanna stick around and see what happens? The spectral girl nodded. Yes, why not? After all, this might be a chance for you to witness another of the top students' dueling style. Nodding in agreement, Naruto stealthily made his way outside. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Naruto spotted a boat coming across the lake. Looks like it's show time. Judai stepped of the boat. And Nikki the midget whined annoyingly. Shu, what's going on here? Well, if I told you, it'd either be a very long story or a very short one, Shu said timidly. Asuka's brunette friend cut in. He was peeping into the girl's bathhouse. She said frowning. Judai was naturally shocked. What did you say? I said I didn't peep. Shu protested, growling. The black-haired girl, Momo if Naruto wasn't mistaken, spoke next. If the academy finds out about it, he'll definitely get expelled. Asuka turned her head to Judai, smirking. Hey, you. Want to duel with me? If you defeat me, I'll look past the whole peeping in the bathhouse incident. Man, she's all about conditions, that girl. Naruto thought, sweat dropping. But I'm telling you, I didn't peep. Judai punched his palm in excitement. I don't know what's quite going on, but whatever. I accept your duel. After he said that, they for some reason decided to duel in the boats in the middle of the lake. Naruto grabbed his hand before it could palm his face. What kind of stupid idea was that? Pulling out his always-at-hand extending telescope with audio receiver, he prepared to watch the oncoming duel. While the two were staring each other down, Naruto panned the telescope along the water, spotting Chronos floating there watching. Activating audio input, he placed an earpiece in his ear and listened to what the man was saying. This has turned into a somewhat interesting event. Noticing Asuka was starting, he moved his line of sight to her, showing great restraint when he refrained from ogling her. Here I go. Sure. Bring it. Duel. Asuka placed her hand on her deck. It's my turn. Draw. I summon a Toil Cyber. Sigh, so it begins. Time to open Yu-Gi-Oh! Wiki. A Toil Cyber Warrior Earth LVL. 4. At def, 1200-1600. An elegant-looking monster with long brownish hair and ribbons around its arm appeared with a spin. Then, I'll set one card to end my turn. Next up's my turn. Draw. I summon Elemental Hero Sparkman. From now on with pre-introduced cards, I'll just show their current positions points along with initials, e.g. A's. A's 1600. Sparkman appeared in a flash of lightning. With Sparkman I'll attack a Toil Cyber. Sparkman attacked with a beam of lightning. Naruto shook his head and once again the idiot completely ignores a face down. Why am I not surprised? Naruto thought, shaking his head. He could tell from the frown on Asuka's face she was thinking along the same lines. Gritting her teeth, she began her counter. She raised her arm upwards. Reverse card, open. I activate double pass. The lightning went around a Toil Cyber and hit Asuka directly. Naruto raised an impressed brow at such a gutsy move. She must be planning on either sacrificing or fusing a Toil Cyber, she grunted as she took the pain. Judai frowned in confusion. What? Double pass changes an opponent's attack to a direct attack on the player. Judai 4000. Asuka 2400. And then, the monster targeted by the attack can attack the opponent directly. The elegant monster glided across the water. A Toil Cyber's special effect, when it attacks directly, its attack goes up by 600. BC 1800. Asuka's monster spun like a ballerina and kicked Judai in the arm, causing him to grab it in pain. Aniki. Asuka 2400. Judai 2200. Naruto smirked at the amazing counter. Now that was a move. I wonder if the idiot twins can learn something from this. Judai muttered under his breath, what a woman. To think she set up this trap, yet not even care about taking damage herself. What's the matter? Are you done already? Asuka taunted the slifer red. Judai stood up with a grunt. Yeah, my turn's finished. I won't have to hesitate then. My turn. Draw. I summon Blade Skater. Asuka exclaimed, slapping the card onto her disc. Blade Skater Warrior Earth LVL. 4. At def, 1400-1500. The woman with no hair, one eye covered in blades on her arms and feet appeared, skating on the water. Asuka then showed Judai the magic card fusion. Naruto shook his head. Although her move just now was very flashy, it was very inconvenient. If she had another monster, she could have summoned a backup as well as her fusion. I fuse a Toil Cyber and Blade Skater together to summon Cyber Blader. Her two monsters skated towards each other, the two of them creating a whirlwind. Out of the whirlwind appeared a woman with long blue hair, shoulder spikes and ice skates on her feet. Cyber Blader Warrior Fusion Earth LVL. 7. At def, 2100-800. Here I go. With Cyber Blader, I attack Sparkman. The monster did a pirouette toward Sparkman and hit it with a spinning kick to the face, destroying it instantly. Asuka 2400. Judai 1700. Shit, she got me. Judai cursed. Naruto drowned out the three cheerleaders and focused on Asuka, impressed with her dueling skills. That's it, Asuka-san, show this idiot that it takes more than luck and a blazing heart to be a good duelist. He thought viciously. Hearing Chrono's unique laugh, it's a very powerful audio system. He turned his attention to the man, ignoring the chattering the cheerleaders were doing. He looks very pleased with himself, as he should be. Naruto grinned. After all, he's the one who enabled me to scope out Asuka's dueling skills, and now that idiot will be kicked out of here. I'm not done yet. Judai said. Naruto turned back to the duel. My turn. Draw. I activate the field magic, Fusion Gate. This can't summon a fusion monster without a fusion card. I'll fuse Featherman and Burstlety together to summon Flame Wingman. He declared with an incredibly overdramatic showing of his cards. The winged hero appeared on the field. The HFW, 2100. Impressive. Asuka smiled to see me summon a fusion monster and fight back with a fusion monster like that without a moment's delay. Naruto sighed, people around here gave praise way too easily. But still, Naruto perked up. They both have the same attack. They'll kill each other like this, won't they? Judai chuckled, not really. Next I activate the permanent magic, Chivalrous Spirit. Now my monster won't be destroyed by a monster with an equal attack. Naruto blinked. For once the idiot actually did a smart move. But that's not all. Once Flame Wingman destroys, yeah, I think you guys got it by now. Asuka gasped. Go, Flame Wingman. Attack her Cyber Blader. Asuka smirked. As Flame Wingman attacked Cyber Blader, it held out its hand and negated the attack. Judai's eyes widened. What? Why isn't it destroyed? The female obelisk closed her eyes. Pas de deux, dance for two, Cyber Blader's special effect. If my opponent only has one monster, it can't be destroyed in battle. Judai was visibly shocked. Pissed. What was that? Then, for this turn. That's right. It means that neither of us takes damage. The busty obelisk said gleefully. Naruto whistled. Color me impressed. Judai grunted. My turn's finished. Honestly, you just have such a weak endgame. It's my turn. Draw. Playtime is over. She revealed her drawn card, the Equip Magic, Fusion Weapon. And I equip it to Cyber Blader. CBE, 3600. Shu gasped while Jaden responded excitedly. Amazing. Its attack suddenly jumped to 3600. Naruto's eyes were wide. I've gotta get me one of those. Asuka's expression turned fierce. Brace yourself. With Cyber Blader, I attack Flame Wingman. Her monster shot a laser blast at Flame Wingman, destroying it. Asuka 2400. Judai 0200. Mama laughed. You got ahead of yourself just because you beat Professor Kronos. The very thought of a couple of Osiris Reds trying to beat us Obelisk Blues is, after all, extremely arrogant. Naruto sweat dropped. She was the arrogant one here. She and her friend, Junko the brunette, most likely only got into blue since it was the only dorm with female facilities. Sorry to break it to you, but you're good as expelled. That, they could agree on, Naruto thought, unless sheer dumb luck struck again. Naruto turned his scope to Shu when he heard him talking. I don't care what happens to me since I haven't done anything wrong, but I won't let you get away with treating my Aniki, who came to save me, like a fool. Don't lose Aniki. Judai turned to Shu. Yeah, of course. Don't worry about it, Shu. Smiling at the show of friendship and camaraderie, Naruto stood up from his lying position. OIE. Kurobo head. He shouted. Everyone jumped slightly in shock and turned to see the blonde in the bushes. Show me that dumb luck that won you your other matches. Shu, Momo and Junko gasped. Naruto-san. Shu shouted. Asuka raised a brow. What's he doing here? Judai blinked before grinning widely. You got it. My turn. Draw. Here it is. He said gleefully. Asuka made a huh sound. Here goes. I summon Elemental Hero Clayman. The Clay Warrior appeared in attack mode. The HC 800. Then, I activate the magic card, Resurrection of the Dead. From my graveyard, I special summon Sparkman. The blue and yellow warrior appeared next to its clay comrade. Days 1600. Just what do you plan on doing? No matter how many of those weak attack monsters you play, they won't beat my cyber blader, Asuka said confidently, bordering arrogant. Next, with the effect of my field magic, Fusion Gate, I'll fuse both my Sparkman and Clayman together to summon elemental hero Thunder Giant. The two heroes went back to back, spinning, and a bolt of lightning hit the sky. When the light died down, there stood Thunder Giant. Want the description? Look it up, I'm tired. Shu started speaking. Field magic cards that have the advantage of being able to change the entire state of play for both you and your opponent's side of the field. He said, repeating Naruto's earlier words from class. The water stirred up, causing the boats to rock as Thunder Giant stood up, a bolt of lightning in the sky behind him. Elemental Hero Thunder Giant Warrior Fusion Light LVL. 6. At def, 2400-1500. So what? Asuka asked. My Cyber Blader has an attack of 3600. Don't you know that? Yeah, of course I know. Judai said confidently. Thunder Giant is able to destroy a monster with an original attack lower than its own. He said calmly. Original attack, Asuka repeated. And before it was powered up by your equip magic, your Cyber Blader's attack was. Due to 2100 points, Asuka stammered. It's lower than Thunder Giant's. Naruto smirked at the move. Not bad for an idiot. That's right. Judai smirked. Let's finish this in one attack. I activate Thunder Giant special effect. I destroy Cyber Blader. Thunder Giant towered over Cyber Blader intimidatingly before raising its open hand over it, lighting emerging from the orb in its hand, destroying Asuka's fusion. And then, a direct attack on the opposing player. Voltic Thunder. The lightning hit the shocked, no pun intended, Asuka, causing her to scream in pain, the electricity traveling along the water and also shocking Kronos. Gaia Garble Blarg. Judai 0200. Asuka 0000. Asuka-san. Will you be alright? Her friends asked worriedly. Judai pointed at Asuka. Gotcha. That sure was a fun duel. Naruto watched as the two boats met in the middle of the lake. Judai smiled. Shu will be coming with me, just like we agreed. Asuka put her hands on her hips. Go right ahead. I'll keep our little agreement. And I'll keep quiet about what happened today. Junko humphed. You shouldn't get too ahead of yourself since you won by a fluke. Stop it, Junko, Asuka scolded her friend. Asuka-san, she said confused. The loss is a loss, so don't be such a poor sport about it. Judai crossed his arms. No, maybe she's right. You're strong. Asuka gasped silently. Of course she's right. A voice said to the left of them. Turning, they saw Naruto lying down in another boat that was floating towards them. Opening his eyes, he sat up, leaning back on one hand, looking at the group. If you hadn't have attacked instantly with complete disregard to her face down, you could have won that duel a lot sooner and easier. The blonde lectured with a bored look on his face. If it wasn't for resurrection of the dead, you'd have lost, no doubt about it. Junko and Momo nodded in agreement with his words, while Judai just blinked and grinned. Oh, thanks for the advice, man. Shocked, Naruto's boat nearly capsized as he fell back, hitting his head on the boat. Everyone present sweat dropped as he sat up, a WTF look on his face. What are you talking about? I'm practically insulting you. The whiskered blonde said, astounded. Judai grinned. Yeah, but you cheered me on, and you just gave me advice on how I could have won easier. He said, eyes closed happily. Naruto stared dumbly at the Slifer Red before regaining his cool and retaking his previous position. Yeah, well, I wasn't trying to help or anything. I just got caught up in the moment, that's all. He said, nose held upwards. The boys grinned while the girls giggled. Shu turned to Naruto. Naruto-san. He said timidly. Naruto opened an eye, raising a brow at the boy. Thanks for earlier in class, trying to help me. Naruto just closed his eye and snorted. Don't be too thankful, those idiots were just getting on my nerves, that's all. He said, lying back down. The others just smiled as Judai and Shu made their way back to shore. Naruto watched them go with one eye before closing it. Gee, idiots. He said, no real malice in his voice. Asuka smiled before she remembered something. Putting a hand on her hips, she asked him a question that made him open both eyes. So, what exactly are you doing here? She asked, resisting the urge to smile. Naruto gulped before sitting up. Well, I was making my way back to the raw yellow dorm when I realized I got lost again. And saw this duel and decided to watch to see you beat that idiot. But alas, he won due to dumb luck once again. He said, faking a sigh. Asuka's eyes narrowed slightly, but couldn't deny what he said. So, could you tell me how to get back to the dorm? He asked sheepishly. Finally letting out a small smile, Asuka pointed. Nodding his thanks, he wrote of, leaving with one last comment. You know, we've got to stop meeting in the dead of night like this, someone might get the wrong idea. Blushing at what he implied, Asuka watched shocked as he rode away. Her two friends instantly squealed and demanded the details on how they met before. Naruto chuckled as he rode away. Heh, still got it. Chronos watched Judai and Shu's boat as it reached the shore. Yuki Judai. Next time, I will bring you down a peg or two, without fail. But, I'm tired today, he said, sinking below the surface. Chapter end. Chapter 5. The monthly test. The red dawn peaks over the horizon. It was early morning on the last day of the first month at Duel Academy. Misawa was standing outside of Naruto's room, wearing a hard hat and holding a pool cue and shielding himself with a large tray he found in the kitchen. Once again, it was up to him to wake up his blonde friend so that they wouldn't be late for lesson. Learning from the previous week, when he had been thrown out of the window by a kick to the face, he had protection. Pushing the door open slightly, he held the tray up to shield his face and made his way to the bed, which he had memorized during his many trips to rouse the sleeping blonde. Reaching out blindly with the pool cue, he tried to gently poke the blonde awake. However, the cue met air. Daring a look over the edge of the tray, he was shocked to see the bed empty and made. Dropping his equipment, he looked around the room, under furniture and in the closet, trying to find his missing rival. Scratching his head in confusion, he turned to leave when he saw the very person he was looking for leaning against the doorframe, looking at him amusedly. "Looking for something, Misawa?" he asked, smirking. Misawa laughed sheepishly before walking past him. Naruto grinned before following him, locking his door. As they made their way to the main building, they discussed the monthly test duel that was coming up later that day. "I don't think we have to worry nah, Misawa," Naruto said, grinning confidently. "After all, we are two of the top duelists in the academy. This should be a briga." All of a sudden, a small figure ran into Naruto, knocking the two of them over. Naruto hit his head hard on the ground. "Ow. Who's the dead son of a bitch who did that?" he said, opening one eye, the other closed in pain. He blinked when he saw a swirly-eyed Shu lying on top of him. Growling, he threw the midget of him with his legs, causing him to comically fly into one of the stone things along the path. "If anyone knows what those things are, please tell me." Naruto stood up, dusting of his sleeve, and glared at the poor Slifer Red who was lying nearly unconscious. He marched over and stood over him, his arms folded. "Look where you're going, Dumbus. What, are your glasses too thick or something?" Giving the brunette a small kick to wake him up, he made his way inside, Misawa following, giving the groaning midget a look of sympathy. He knew from experience how painful those kicks were. Naruto was grumbling under his breath. "I swear, if that idiot Slifer gave me a concussion, I'm going to totally sue his ass. I can get a hold of the best lawyers around and he'll be swimming in lawsuits so fast he wouldn't be able to tell his trap cards from his magic cards." Muhahahahahas. He cackled. Misawa's sweat dropped and slowed down, so he was a few steps behind. "I don't know him. I don't know him. I don't know him," was the mantra in his head. Arriving at the classroom, they went and got their seat number from Daidakuji-sensei at the front. After all but one student had arrived, Shu pitifully dragging himself in, the test was started. Naruto found it hard to concentrate as he could hear Shu muttering in his sleep a few rows up. "Aniki, I'm sorry, Aniki." Shuddering, Naruto decided he didn't want to know what the midget was dreaming about. Suddenly, a familiar obnoxious voice sounded from behind him. "Unforgivable, absolutely unforgivable." Naruto looked out the corner of his eye to see the current bane of his existence. Haku shook her head at his overdramaticness. "Yuki Judai." Shu gasped. "There's no point in studying to the bone just to find you dozing off, you jerk. You're being a pest, Slifer Red. Shut your trap." The three of them looked upwards to see Manjam glaring at the Slifer Dumbus duo, as Naruto liked to call them, standing from his seat with his hands on the desk. "If you don't plan on taking the test, then beat it," Naruto sniggered. Judai threw his arms down. "Quit joking around. I came all this way. You think I'm just gonna go back?" Finally having enough, Naruto turned and glared at the idiot. "If you don't shut up, Kurobo head, I'm gonna punt you all the way back to your rundown excuse for a dorm." Before Judai could respond, the teacher called out to him. "Yuki Judai-kun, come down here and get a testing sheet." "Naya. There's not much time left, Naya." "Yes, sir." Naruto growled. Another Slifer glared at the idiot. "Is he mocking us?" Asuka was frowning at her test paper. Being 30 minutes late means he has no consideration for the written test. Misawa was looking down at the boy as he received his paper. "How could you be so negligent and yet have such considerable skills, Yuki Judai?" Other people were glaring at Judai and whispering to themselves. "How did a guy like him beat Professor Chronos?" Naruto gripped his pencil as he wrote the last answer. "GRRR, I spent years training to be a good duelist. I won't be shown up by someone who can't even turn up on time." Naruto once again glared as the Slifer Dumbus duo were leaning against each other, asleep. Blinking, he turned to the back of the room when he heard Chrono's distinct chuckle. "He finished himself off on the written test, just as I suspected." He Naruto raised a brow. What was the man up to now? Meanwhile, what could only be described as a small armada was arriving on the island. One man stood on the beach dramatically, holding a briefcase. The written test has now ended. In addition, the practical skills test will take place in the gymnasium at 2 p.m. Everyone started rushing out of the room in a frenzy. Misawa went over to the twosome to try and wake them up. "Hey, you two. Wake up. The test is already over." Naruto walked slowly up the stairs rolling his eyes. "Just leave them, Misawa, let them sleep. I've heard that idiots need twice as much sleep as normal people to try and multiply their brain cells," he said, leaving the room with his eyes closed. After he left the doorway he heard Shu shout out. "Huh. A large shipment of cards." Naruto snorted and made his way back to the dorm to prepare his deck. He didn't need some so-called rare cards. His deck is fine as it is. He knew that Misawa felt the same way, and he could guess that the midge-idiot would need as many cards as he could get his little hands on. Now, Judai, Naruto opened his eyes, it wouldn't matter what cards he bought, he would still crush him when the time came. Besides, he was close friends with Pegasus J. Crawford, he could get rare cards anytime. Looking around, he noticed he was lost, again. Facepalming painlessly, he called it the Facepalm V2, he dragged his hand down his face, grumbling. He was about to walk down some stairs when he heard a familiar voice down them. "We weren't able to buy a single thing, what'll we do about this afternoon's test?" Looking over the side of the stairs, he saw Manjam and his lackeys. Manjam halted, his minions doing the same. "Just keep calm. You don't need to stock up on any new cards for some dumb monthly test. There's nobody in Obelisk Blue who can beat me anyway." Naruto smirked. Maybe the two of them weren't so different. A voice came from the bottom of the stairs. "But what if your opponent was Yuki Judai?" Naruto blinked, when did he get there, and was that Chronos under that cloak? Manjam turned around. "What?" The cloaked man continued. "Can you beat Judai with your deck as it is?" The blue-haired minion gasped in recognition. "You're the one who bought up all the cards." Naruto raised a brow, that was kind of a move there. "Those cards are all right here," he said, opening his cloak like a flasher to reveal he had somehow attached all the rare cards to the inside of it. The spiky lackey shouted at him. "Who are you? What's the point in buying up all those cards?" The blue one followed up. The man laughed familiarly, causing the Obelisk Blues to gasp, still clueless. "Signor Manjam." As to the man threw of his cloak, revealing himself to be none other than Chronos. "Who I really am?" The blue one spoke. "It's the guy who lost to Yuki Judai, Professor Chronos." Chronos fell over only to recover just as quickly. "The dropout bot like Yuki Judai must be crushed by elites just as yourselves before it's too late. That's why I'm instructing you to do it. Fight against Judai," he said, pointing at Manjam. Manjam pointed out the flaw in his plan, but the practical test is conducted between members of the same dorm. "Leave everything to me. And we'll make the dropout boy remember that we elites are the rare ones around here." "Mwahahaha," Chronos said, bursting out into evil laughter. Sweat dropping, Naruto decided to just get the hell out of there before he caught some stupid off the man. Later at 2 p.m. it was the start of the test duels. Naruto looked around, wondering who his opponent would be. He was talking to Misawa when his name was called. "Well, I'll catch you later, Misawa." Nodding, the genius wished hi friend luck as he made his way to the floor. Getting one of the corner fields he looked across and grinned at his opponent. "Well, if it isn't Ishidi." The boy growled and glared at the blonde. "It's a Shiki," he shouted, eyebrow twitching. Naruto shrugged and turned on his duel disc. His brown-haired opponent did the same, glaring the whole time. "Duel." Ishiki started, drawing a card. "I summon Hannibal Necromancer in attack mode." A weird blue creature covered in yellow spikes with red eyes appeared on the field. Hannibal Necromancer Spellcaster Dark LVL. 4. At def, 1400-1800. When Hannibal Necromancer is normal summoned to the field, it gets one spell counter added to it. A strange triangle shape appeared on the creature's forehead. Naruto frowned at the monster. Hannibal Necromancer, a monster that can destroy a trap card by removing a spell counter placed on it. Naruto drew a card silently. That thing could be dangerous. Naruto looked at the card he drew and smirked. This should be enough. "Heh, you really think the Digimon reject can do any harm? Please, you're delusional." Taking great pleasure from the look of rage on his opponent's face, he summoned a monster. "I summon the monster Akatsuki Dadara in attack mode." In a puff of smoke a blonde man appeared on the field wearing a large black cloak with red clouds. He had long blonde hair arranged in a high ponytail and a long bang covering his left eye, also going over a headband with a steel plate, decorated by a strange symbol with a line going through it. He extended his hands outwards, revealing mouths on the palms that opened with lounges lolling out, causing many cries of disgust from the girls watching. Akatsuki Dadara Warrior Earth LVL4. At def, 1600-1000. Asuka raised an intrigued brow at the new monster the blonde played, while Misawa smirked at the familiar card. That particular one had beat his previous test deck easily. Suddenly the mouths in the monster's palms began to chew, spitting out two clay birds that made their way over and perched on his fellow raw yellow's shoulders. Ishiki let out a cry. "What the hell are these?" he said worriedly. Naruto smirked. "Those are clay tokens and, despite their current perch, they take up 2 of you summoning spaces. You can, however, get rid of them by either destroying Deidara or using them as a sacrifice." Asuka frowned. Why would Naruto give his opponent a chance to summon a powerful monster? There must be a catch. Now Deidara, attack with C1 explosion. Deidara's palms opened again and 2 different birds appeared, these ones more streamlined. The clay creations flew towards Hannibal Necromancer at full speed, causing it to disappear in an explosion. Ishiki moved his arm to protect his eyes from the smoke. Naruto 4000. Ishiki 3800. Naruto smirked. Then I placed 2 face downs and end my turn. 2 holographic cards appeared on Naruto's side of the field. Ishiki glared at Naruto and drew a card. My turn. Draw. Looking at his hand, he smirked and picked out a card. I summoned Silent Magician LV4 in attack mode. Silent Magician LV4 Spellcaster Light LVL. 4. At def, 1000/1000ths. Ishiki smirked. Next, I activate the spell card Hand Obliteration. This card forces both of us to discard our hands and draw 5 cards. Frowning, Naruto discarded his hand and drew a new one, Ishiki doing the same. Suddenly, spell counters started to float around SMLV4, 1 for each card Naruto drew. Ishiki smirked and decided to explain his plan. For every card you draw, my Silent Magician gets a spell counter placed on it. When it gets 5, during my next standby phase, one can summon a Silent Magician LV8 from my deck or hand. Naruto's eyes widened, he had to stop that thing quickly. Ishiki still wasn't finished. Next I play the spell card, Nightmare's Steelsage. A dome-shaped cage with spike covered the field. This card stays around for 2 of your turns. No monster can attack, which unfortunately includes mine as well, but it's a small price to pay for the successful summon of Silent Magician LV8. He said, smirking. Naruto closed his eyes, and Asuka looked at him worriedly. Naruto, how would you get out of this one? Misawa stared at friend intently. Come on Fishcake, this isn't enough to stop you. Show everyone Judai isn't the only skilled duelist around here. Speaking of Judai, he was watching the match, his eyes sparkling. Wow. This is intense. Right Shu. He shouted, turning to his sidekick who nodded in agreement. Naruto's eyes opened. Not bad Ishiki, but not good enough to stop me. Drawing a card, Naruto smirked at it and showed it to Ishiki. I activate the trap card, C0. He said, smirking. As long as I meet 2 certain conditions I can activate this card. Deidara started to turn pale, black lines running across his skin. Number 1, I must have Akatsuki Deidara on my side of the field. Deidara started to turn slightly opaque. Number 2, I must have 5 or more cards in my hand, which as it just so happens, I do. Deidara was now completely see-through, the black lines all that made up his body. When these certain conditions are met, I can destroy all cards on the field. Everyone's eyes widened as they gasped at the information, Ishiki's especially. Imagine the reaction shots you see in GX all the time. What? The burly raw yellow stammered. Naruto smirked as Deidara's lines retreated into a black bowl with a jagged smile. Light shone out of its closed mouth. Naruto threw his arms out dramatically hard as a blast. The mouth opened before an ear-ringing explosion covered the field, taking a shape that vaguely looked like Deidara. Watch the finale of the Sasuke Deidara fight if you don't know it. Everyone either closed their eyes or covered their ears as the explosion went on for nearly a minute. When it died down, the field was completely empty, except the 2 duelists and the clay tokens. Coughing and rubbing his eyes, Ishiki staggered, then steadied himself. Suddenly, the tokens glowed and 2 smaller explosions happened on Ishiki's shoulders. The brown-haired boy cried out, clutching his shoulders in pain. Naruto 4000. Ishiki 2800. Naruto smirked. Oh yeah, when those tokens are destroyed, they each individually deal 500 points of damage each. Gritting his teeth in pain and anger as his strategy was defeated, Ishiki stood on unsteady feet and glared at Naruto. Suddenly, the brown-haired boy started laughing. Ha 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 ha. Calming down, panting heavily, Ishiki grinned at Naruto. So you stopped Silent Magician LV4, so what? I still have a full hand, whereas yours is empty. Next turn, you're toast. The near-crazed boy blinked in shock, however, when Naruto started laughing too. Asuka frowned, what did he have to laugh about? After a minute, Naruto stopped. Oh Ishiki, do you really think I would pull off such a risky move without a backup plan? Ishiki blinked, then sneered at the whiskered duelist. Gee, you're bluffing. Naruto smirked. Oh yeah, watch this. Then he threw his arm to the side. I activate the special effect of a monster in my graveyard. By removing from play 1 monster from my graveyard, I can special summon this card to the field. Ishiki's eyes widened again. Misawa smirked. He's using that card. I special summon from the graveyard, Akatsuki Kakuzu. A mass of black tentacles flew out of Naruto's graveyard slot. They conformed together to create a tall man in the same black cloak, with a mask covering his face and a bandana with a steel plate on it, with a weird symbol with a line through it. His eyes were the only visible part of his face. Looking at his arms, you could see lots of stitches covering them. Akatsuki Kakuzu Warrior Earth LVL. 5. At Def, 2000s. Naruto pointed at Ishiki dramatically. Kakuzu attack him directly, Earth Spear. Kakuzu's arm turned black and he ran over to Ishiki, punching him in the face. Ishiki's head flew backwards and he let out a cry of pain. Naruto 4000. Ishiki 0800. Kakuzu jumped back over to Naruto. Ishiki held his face in pain. Naruto smirked and with a face down, I'll end my turn. Everyone in the crowd watched in awe at Naruto's combos. Suddenly, a random voice called out from the crowd, "Yeah, way to go Uzumaki." After that, most of the crowd started cheering, excited by the duel. Naruto grinned and waved at everyone cheering for him. Asuka giggled at his antics, something that didn't escape her friends, Junko and Momo's attention. Looking at each other they grinned. They were so teasing her about this later. Growling at the cheering, Ishiki stood up straight and viciously drew a card. Sweating, he placed a face-down defense monster and ended his turn. Naruto drew a card and ordered Kakuzu to attack. The card was revealed to be the Unhappy Maiden, which was destroyed. The Unhappy Maiden Spellcaster Light LVL. 1. At Def, 0100. Naruto sighed. Ishiki was just delaying the inevitable. Putting down 2 magic cards, he knew they would decide the duel. Ishiki was desperately trying to stall so he could draw another silent magician. Drawing a card, he smiled and played it. I play the spell card Swords of Revealing Light, which. Naruto cut him off. Sorry Ishiki, but I activate not 1, but 2 explosive tag spell cards. The 2 face downs flipped up and 2 pieces of paper flew at the holographic Swords of Revealing Light card. The card exploded and dealt damage to Ishiki's life points, ending the duel. Naruto 4000. Ishiki 0000. Ishiki fell to his knees in defeat and the crowd cheered for Naruto. Naruto walked up to the downed brunette and offered a hand. Staring at it with teary eyes, he looked up to see a smiling Naruto staring at him. The blonde spoke, "That was a good game, Ishiki." The boy's eyes widened at Naruto's use of his real name. "You nearly had me there. You just need to rely less on summoning one monster." Staring at him for a few moments, Ishiki smiled and grabbed Naruto's hand, allowing himself to be dragged up. The brunette grinned. "Thanks, that was a good game, you're really tough. Watch out though, I'm going to improve my deck and come back and beat you," he said, grinning. Asuka smiled at the blonde sportsmanship, blushing slightly, something that Junko and Momo jumped on. "What you smiling at, Asuka-san? Could it be Raw Yellow's resident cutie?" Junko asked, smirking. Asuka's face turned pink, denying her friend's words, which didn't convince them in the slightest. "And no way. I don't think of Naruto like that," she protested. The 2 girls grinned mischievously. "Who said anything about him?" Blushing in mortification, Asuka turned away from her now madly giggling friends. Yudai grinned at the awesome match he just saw. He couldn't wait to have a duel with him. Speaking of which, it was now his turn. He quickly made his way to the floor. Misawa grinned at his friend as he made his way back to the stands. "Well, looks like you've passed." Naruto grinned right back, fist bumping Misawa. "Heh, and judging from your duel earlier, you too." The 2 heard a loud exclamation. Turning to the field, Misawa was shocked at what he saw. Naruto, however, was smirking. "Let's see how elite you are, Spiky." "Why am I dueling Manjam?" Chapter end. Chapter 6 Laps, Glass and Rants. Not exactly Naruto's best day. It was yet another day for Uzumaki Naruto at the Duel Academy, another day of classes, duels and unbearable stupidity from a certain red-clad duo. Naruto grit his teeth as he lay on the raw yellow dormitory balcony, glaring at the sky as he recalled the other day's events. Flashback. "And I attacked the player directly." Elemental hero Featherman flew at the screaming Manjam, hitting him directly and causing him to fall to his hands and knees. After a few seconds to take in what just happened, the crowd roared, twice as loud as they did at Naruto's duel. Said Raw Yellow was currently gaping in utter shock. That idiot actually won. He thought, astounded. What shocked him even more was that it wasn't just dumb luck that helped him win. He actually lured Manjam into a trap. Again. You'd think the obelisk, as arrogant as he was, would have learned from the last time. "You did it, big bro," shouted the blue midget who was standing with Naruto and Misawa. He watched as Judai absorbed the attention. "Cocky jackass," he thought angrily, conveniently forgetting he did the same not 10 minutes prior. Judai pointed to the defeated, mentally and literally, obelisk. "Gotcha. That was a fun duel," he said. Naruto saw Manjam glare at the idiot. Naruto blinked as he saw the midget and Misawa run up to the moron to congratulate him. He glared at the betrayal his friend showed, then looked up as the chairman spoke. You have shown me, Yuki Judai. Your trust in your deck, your passionate friendship with your monsters and most importantly, a dueling soul that never gives up in a fight despite his current anger shock. Naruto pouted. I have those too. He whined childishly in his head. Haku facepalmed, was the boy bipolar or something? These are things I'm sure everyone here has acknowledged. Naruto snorted internally, the day he acknowledged the boy's luck as a skill was the day he saw a flying pig do the Heimlich maneuver on a tuna sandwich because it swallowed the plot down the wrong pipe. So, as the winner, Yuki-kun, you are being promoted to raw yellow. Naruto's eyes widened. No way. He thought, oh god, I'm going to have to put up with his idiocy even more. Turning with a tch he stormed off as his best friend welcomed his most hated person to the dorm. Thinking of Manjam, he scoffed. If you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Flashback end. It had been a few days since then and to Naruto's relief the idiot turned down the offer, claiming to prefer red. What's wrong with yellow, he thought, once again forgetting he didn't like it at first either. Yellow is the blaze of the golden sun. Yellow is the burning heat of a certain hot dog condiment. And most of all he jumped to his feet pointing dramatically. It's the color of my hair. He yelled looking off into the distance. What is? Blinking, Naruto looked to the ground to see none other than Tenjo and Asuka looking at him oddly. Sweat poured down his face as he looked at her, before throwing himself to the floor. Asuka blinked at the strange action, before the eccentric blonde popped back up, casually leaning against the side. Hey Asuka-san, sup? He said coolly. Asuka sweat dropped at the boy. Not much. She said almost asking. Naruto nodded before jumping of the balcony, causing the girl to let out a slight shriek as he before her in a crouch. Straightening, he grinned with his arms crossed behind his back. So, what can I do you for? He asked her. Recovering from her shock, she walked off, motioning for him to follow. Shrugging he did so, walking beside her. She was silent for a few minutes before looking up almost nervously. I was wondering if you'd like to talk for a bit. She requested, blushing invisibly. Blinking, Naruto pretended to mull it over. Let's see. Continue to stare at the sky all day or talk with a good friend. He tapped his chin playfully. Sure, why not? He finished grinning. Her blush grew slightly, enough so that she noticed it. Thankful his eyes were closed from smiling, she quickly shook it off. What's wrong with me? He's just a friend. Besides, I need to focus on my dueling. After a few minutes of chatting about nothing, the two of them sat next to the giant lake and Asuka watched as Naruto skipped stones along the water. The water reminded her of her duel with Judai, which caused her to remember Naruto's behavior towards the Slifer. Speaking up, she decided to question him on it. So, why do you dislike Judai so much? His hand stopped mid-through, a dark look covering his face, unseen by the girl behind him. She frowned at his frozen position before he followed through and threw the stone, causing it to plop loudly halfway across the lake. He turned to her, clueless expression on his face. What do you mean? He asked, trying to play it off as nothing. Asuka wasn't convinced, however, and pushed on. You know what I mean. You take any opportunity to insult him and you're nearly always glaring at him in class. She said, growing annoyed at her friend's avoidance over the matter. Naruto took her growing annoyance the wrong way, however, and snapped at the girl. You wanna know why? Because he's an idiot, an insufferable moron. All his duels are won due to sheer dumb luck instead of actual skill. And he plays it off like it's nothing. Weeks of anger and annoyance were spewing out of him, unable to contain it anymore. Asuka stared at him, wide-eyed in shock and a little fear. Not only is he annoying as fuck, but his stupid little blue cheerleader is almost as annoying, if not more so. But at least he accepts the fact that he's a no-good, talentless buff. He was cut off as he felt a sharp slap to the face. He stared dumbly at Asuka, who had her arm outstretched, glaring at him. She turned away from him and began to walk off. Stopping, she turned her head. You know, I thought you were a nice person. But now I know you're no better than Manjam or any of the other obelisk blues. Turning again she walked at brisk pace. Naruto stared for a few moments before recovering. Wait, Asuka. He called out, to no avail. Staring at her retreating figure, he fell onto his backside, hands covering his face. He groaned, forget Judai, I'm the biggest idiot on this island. Naruto was wandering around the academy, dejected from earlier. Naruto looked at himself in his reflection in a window. What's wrong with me lately? Also, why do I hate him so much? He pondered, turning to look full on at the window. He blinked as his reflection blurred to show him, but in a different outfit. This outfit was an orange and black jacket, orange pants and a black headband. The image of him had its hands behind its head, grinning. The image shimmered as it was overlapped with one of Judai, in the exact same pose with the same grin. Feeling a rush of anger he suddenly punched the window, causing it to shatter into thousands of tiny pieces. Panting, he glared at where the window used to be, before a twinge in his hand made him look down. He stared at his hand, not really taking in the sight of shards of glass stuck in it or the blood running down his arm. Not so carefully pulling the shards out, he dropped them on the ground and made his way back to his dorm room, holding his hand against his jacket. Is it because he reminds me of how I used to be? Naruto was about to enter his dorm room when he heard a voice behind him. Hey, Naruto. Behind him was Misawa making his way over. I just built a new deck and I want to test what happened to your hand. He gasped. Naruto looked at it, the blood had dried and the wound closed. He looked up and grinned. Oh hey Misawa, what's up? Misawa grabbed his hand. What happened to your hand? He repeated frantic. Naruto laughed and pulled it out of his grasp. Oh, this. I accidentally spilled some paint on myself while I was walking. He finished lamely. Misawa raised a brow. Naruto spoke again before he could say anything else. So what was it you wanted, a duel? Misawa looked him in the eye for a few seconds and smiled. Yes, I need to test my new test deck. Nodding, Naruto went inside to grab his deck and raw yellow custom disc, complete with a change of jacket. Right, let's go. Nodding his head, Misawa followed his friend to one of the indoor duel arenas. 20 minutes later they were depowering their discs. Naruto wiped some sweat from his brow. Damn Misawa, that water deck is tough. You gonna keep it? He inquired. Misawa smirked at his friend as he pulled his deck out. Yes, after I've ironed out some of its flaws. The two of them made to leave, but not before a voice called out to them. Oi, Uzumaki. Turning, they saw a green, spiky-haired obelisk in the standard obelisk blue jacket. I want to duel you. He declared, pointing at Naruto. Exchanging a glance with Misawa, he just shrugged and walked back onto the dueling field. The obelisk smirked and stood opposite him. Naruto grinned. So, what's your name? You know, so I can add it to my people I made cry list. The obelisk growled and activated his disc. Yamashima Yu, remember it well, for it'll be in your nightmares. He growled. Naruto smirked. Is that what you say to girls as well? Man, you must be quite the charmer. He said tauntingly. Yamashima's eyes narrowed. This coming from the biggest pervert in Duel Academy. He snarled. Naruto frowned, offended. Yamashima smirked. What's wrong? Don't like it when it's flipped onto you, do you? He sneered. Naruto smirked right back. I don't mind being flipped at all. The view's much nicer. He said, giggling slightly. Yamashima growled again. Well, that's enough talking, nah. Yamashima sneered at him. For once we agree. Duel. Naruto drew first. I summon the monster card Akatsuki Zetsu in attack mode. A very tall, well, man probably wouldn't be the right term. Like the other Akatsuki cards, the figure had a black cloak with red clouds. However, the cloak was wider to accommodate the giant plant jaws poking out of it. The mouth opened to reveal a man with green hair, his skin half black, half white, with yellow eyes, and all that was on the black side was a yellow pupil. Akatsuki Zetsu Planter of LVL. 3. At def, 1000 1000ths. And I'll leave it at that. He finished. Misawa frowned. He hadn't seen that card yet. He smirked, seems like his rival was hiding some things from him. Oh, you have no idea, buddy. Yamashima frowned. Is he taunting me? My turn. Draw. Looking over his hand, he decided to start off strong. I summoned Gladiator Beast Darius in attack mode. A humanoid horse in red armor and a whip appeared on Yamashima's side of the field. Gladiator Beast Darius Beast Warrior Earth LVL. 4. At def, 1700 300. Naruto raised a brow. A Gladiator Beast deck. He smirked. Looks like I couldn't have started with a better card. Yamashima pointed at Zetsu Darius. Attack his Akatsuki Zetsu. The Anthropomorph and charged at the plant man, swinging its whip. Naruto smirked. Not so fast. Zetsu's special effect activates. The plant man shrugged of its cloak, revealing it to be genderless. It split in two just before the horse hit, causing the whip to miss. Yamashima's eyes widened. Wow, what the hell? He shouted, incredibly weirded out by what he just saw. Where Zetsu once was two men, one black and the other white. Naruto smirked. Zetsu's special effect, it activates when Zetsu is targeted by a monster for attack. By removing Zetsu from play, I can summon one Zetsu black and one Zetsu white token to take its place, negating your attack. He finished with a smirk. Zetsu black white token Earth. At def, 500 500ths. Yamashima growled at the effect. It rendered his Gladiator Beast deck strategy useless. Putting down a face down, he ended his turn. Suddenly, the two Zetsu tokens merged back together into their original form, and Naruto grinned. Oh yeah, during the end phase of the turn the effect was activated. By removing the tokens, I can special summon Zetsu back from out of play. He said as he drew a card, and Yamashima frowned at the annoying effect. How am I supposed to beat that thing? Misawa was staring at it intently, and being the genius that he was, he had already figured out its weakness. Naruto summoned the card he drew. I summon Akatsuki Haiden in attack mode. A man with the typical Akatsuki robe appeared on the field, only this one was torn so half his torso was showing. He had a headband around his neck and below that was some sort of pendant. In one hand he had a large tri-bladed red scythe and the other something that looked like a cylinder. His hair was silver and slicked back. Akatsuki Haiden Warrior Dark LVL. 4. At def 1800-0000. Taking note of Yamashima's face down, he decided to use Haiden's effect. I activate Akatsuki Hidden Special Effect. By sacrificing 500 life points I can destroy one of your monsters. Yamashima's eyes widened again at the effect used. Haiden's skin turned black with a white skeletal decoration, best way I could describe it, and the cylinder extended into a spear. Burying the scythe into the ground, he held the spear with two hands and shoved it through his chest. Gladiator Beast area shattered with a loud horsey scream. Naruto pointed at Yamashima, deciding to take a risk with his weaker monster. Now Zetsu attack him directly. The plant man melted into the ground, and while Yamashima was frantically looking around for him, he emerged from behind him, slashing the duelist with a root-like sword where his arm was. Yamashima cried out in pain, and Zetsu merged with the ground and reappeared next to Haiden, arm back to normal. Naruto smirked, looks like it's either not a counter trap or he needs to have a monster on the field. Naruto 3500. Yamashima, 3000. Now I place a face down and end my turn. Naruto finished with a taunting smirk. Yamashima glared at him before drawing a card. I play the spell card, Gladiator Proving Ground. This card allows me to add one level 4 or lower Gladiator Beast monster from my deck to my hand. Taking out his deck, he spread it out in his hand and picked a card before shuffling his deck and putting it back in his disc. Now, I summon Gladiator Beast Equist in attack mode. An armored centaur with wings appeared on the field. Gladiator Beast Equist Winged Beast Wind LVL. 4. At def, 1600-1200. Now I activate the spell card Shrink. This card halves the attack of one monster on the field and I choose Akatsuki Haiden. Haiden turned into a chibi. Now, take a few moments to imagine Chibi Haiden. 900. Yamashima smirked. Now, GBE, too lazy, attack Haiden. The centaur charged at the chibi monster, which caused several girls who came out of nowhere to boo. Misawa gaped at the sudden number of females. Where did they come from? Naruto had a worried look on his face before he smirked, catching Yamashima off guard. I activate the spell card, Kawarimi no Jutsu. This card allows me to change your monster's target to another monster I control, and I choose Zetsu. In twin poofs of smoke, Zetsu stood where Haiden was, and vice versa. Before Equist's attack could connect, the plant man once again split in half and avoided the attack. Yamashima growled in frustration, he's too damn slippery, almost like a ninja. He though internally and angrily. He ended his turn. Naruto smirked, drawing a card. This was way too easy. He looked at the face down. Let's see if my theory was right. Akatsuki Haiden, attack his monster. The now normal-sized man, which had many of the girls drooling, charged at the centaur, waving his scythe with a crazed grin. Yamashima smirked before he realized a fatal flaw. Wait, Horn of the Phantom Beast only works with a beast warrior monster. Shitty watched helplessly as his monster was destroyed by the silver-haired psycho. Naruto 3500. Yamashima, 2800. Naruto frowned. Is that really a trap card? Or maybe it's a spell card. He shrugged. Oh well, if it didn't activate then it won't activate now. Zetsu attacked directly. It did so. Naruto 3500. Yamashima, 1800. Yamashima held his body in pain. Drawing a card, he realized he had to make this turn count, otherwise it would all be over next turn. Looking at the card he smiled, this would buy him some time. I summon Gladiator Beast Hoplimus in defense mode. A giant rhino humanoid with large armored arms appeared in a crouching position with its arms crossed protectively. Gladiator Beast Hoplimus Rockerith LVL. 4. At def 700-2100s. Next I equip it with a spell card, Deep Intake of Breath recommended. Gladiator Beast's Battle Archfiend Shield, a giant demonic-looking shield appeared over the rock rhino's arms, hiding it completely from Naruto's view. Naruto frowned, not only did that monster have a high defense, but unless he was mistaken, that spell card would take a hit for the monster, so that meant Haiden's effect was out, unless he waited another turn, then he could destroy it after. But that then gave his opponent an opportunity to sacrifice it to summon a strong monster. But, if he didn't use Haiden's effect, then Yamashima could order the rhino to attack Haiden. And it wouldn't be destroyed because of that shield. And also, because when a gladiator beast was attacked or attacks, it gets tagged out with another one from his deck, and that monster would get a special effect from being special summoned that way. And that definitely be bad for him. Naruto's frown deepened when he finished analyzing his difficult situation. Looking at his hand, he noticed that he had the trap card C0, quick I made a mistake last chapter. Traps can only be activated the turn after they're set. You guys think I should change it to a spell card or keep it as a trap? If he was lucky enough, he could draw Akatsuki Tadara and plant the trap, activating it when Yamashima special summoned a gladiator beast and destroying all the cards on the field. Yamashima was enjoying the expression on his face. Hey Uzumaki. Naruto looked up from his deck, which he had been staring at intently. Are you ready to be defeated? I'm sure you've already figured out that this duel is mine next turn. Naruto looked at his hand, then blinked and resisted the urge to Fasipam V2. He forgot about Haiden's other special ability. Shaking his head, he was glad Kaiba wasn't there to see this. He'd never live it down. The rush of adrenaline from this match is keeping me from thinking straight. He realized. Deciding to use this chance to calm down, he asked Yamashima a question. Hey Krapashima, he bristled at the nickname. Why did you randomly decide to duel me? Yamashima closed his eyes for a few seconds before opening them, glaring at Naruto. You wanna know why? I'm sick of you. Raising a brow from the obscure answer, he asked him the obvious question. Why? Have I done something to offend you? Did I make out with your sister? Did I throw away one of your fan letters? Did I steal your pencil? Yamashima was burning red with anger. Bursting, he snapped at the blonde. No. I'm sick of the way you act so casual around the Queen of Obelisk Blue, Tenjoin Asuka-kun. Naruto's eyes widened. He had forgotten about her, what with the punching a window, hanging with Misawa and dueling Yamashima and all. His mood immediately dropped when he remembered how they parted earlier. Yamashima didn't notice his expression and carried on. You speak and flirt with her so casually, as if you think you're friends. There's no way such a beauty, from Obelisk Blue no less, would actually be friends with a guy like you. You're unbearable. You swagger around the academy like you own the place, while hating on Yuki Judai. Well, you want to know something, you're not much better than he is. The considerable crowd that had built up during the duel was staring at the scene in complete shock. Misawa was glaring furiously at the way he spoke to his best friend and incidentally, his friend from Slifer Red. Naruto's head was bowed, fingernails breaking the skin on his palms. He was clutching them so tight. He could no longer hear Yamashima's rant. Instead he heard memories he had tried desperately to forget. Look, it's the demon boy. Ugh. Where does he get off, walking around the village as if he belongs here? He's unbearable. Naruto grunted, grabbing his head at the painful memories. He was shaking and everyone looked at him worriedly, except Yamashima who was still ranting. Naruto started to growl, fingers gripping his hair tightly, bending over slightly, hand dropping to the floor, card scattering. His head hurt so much, he couldn't take it anymore, he called. A soft familiar hand pressed on his shoulder. He looked to the left slightly to see a softly smiling Haku next to him, emitting a calming aura. Don't listen to him, Naruto-kun. You're okay, you're safe. You're at Duel Academy, Kaiba's school. Hearing both her voice and the familiar name, he calmed down slightly, grip on his hair loosening. Taking several deep breaths, he let his hands fall to the side. Standing upright, he sent a small albeit shaky smile to Haku. Thanks, he mouthed to her. She just smiled, a tear going down her face. Seeing him like that reminded her of the night she spent comforting him as he cried himself to sleep, and she hated seeing her first friend like that. Bending down, Naruto picked up his hand and drew a card from his deck. Smirking, he looked over at Yamashima who was still ranting. He shouted at him. Hey. Rantashima. The green-haired obelisk stopped mid-rant and looked at Naruto curiously. Naruto grinned. Get ready for your defeat. The crowd watched as the raw yellow had regained his cool. Misawa smiled. Alright, he's calmed down. Yamashima sneered at the blonde. Ha. What are you talking about? Unless you can't tell, I've got this duel in the palm of my hand. Naruto's confident grin threw him off balance, however. Naruto smirked. First of all, I activate Haiden's special effect. The silver-haired man stabbed himself, decreasing Naruto's life points and destroying the equip spell. Next, I sacrifice Akatsuki Zetsu to summon one of my most powerful cards. Come on out, Akatsuki Uchiha Itachi. Zetsu shattered and a flock of crows appeared where he stood. They combined together to form a man in his early 20s, with black hair and a ponytail, 2 lines running down his stoic face. He wore the typical Akatsuki robe with scratched-out headband, this one with a symbol that vaguely resembled a leaf. Akatsuki Uchiha Itachi Warrior Fire LVL. 6. At Def 2500-2200. Yamashima's eyes widened at the powerful monster, before smirking. So what? Even if you attack and destroy Hoplomys, I can special summon another gladiator beast with a special effect, one that'll destroy your monster, so it's useless. Yamashima cackled. After he beat the blonde bastard, Tenjoin-kun will realize how awesome he is and leave that lowly raw yellow for him. If one could read his mind, they would call him deluded, but if they read Naruto's, they would call him screwed. And Naruto chuckled. Normally you would be right, but he picked a card from his hand. This card will bring about your defeat. I activate the spell card. Amaterasu. The card in his hand showed a generic ninja, face set in a pain shriek as he was covered in black flames. As long as I have a monster on my side of the field with a Chiha in its name, I can destroy one monster on your side of the field. Yamashima gasped. That's right. I target Gladiator Beast Hoplomys. Itachi's eyes turned red, with a black pinwheel replacing the pupil. He closed his left eye as black flames flew out of his right one, covering Hoplomys and destroying it. Unfortunately, when a monster uses Amaterasu, it loses 500 attack and defense points. AUI, 2000 1700s. Naruto smirked. Unfortunately for you however, Itachi still has enough attack points to finish you off. Itachi, finish him, Grand Fireball Jutsu. Yamashima's expression was one of utter fear shock as a giant fireball flew at him. He screeched in agony as he felt the virtual flames lick his skin. When the fire died down, he fell to his knees. Naruto 3000. Yamashima, 0000. Defeated. Naruto walked of the field among cheers from the crowd. Stopping, he spoke to the near comatose boy over his shoulder. Never doubt any of my friendships ever again, you fucking little shit. Yamashima was on his knees, hands limp by his side, body and head bent slightly back, and his mouth wide open and his eyes pure white, smoke coming of his body. Naruto made his way out of the room, Misawa right behind him. Looking both ways, the genius spotted his friend leaning against the wall next to the doorway. He looked at him for a few moments, before asking him. Are you alright, Naruto? He asked carefully. Naruto opened his eyes and nodded. Yeah, I'll be fine Daichi. Misawa blinked at the use of his first name. He's definitely not alright. I'm just gonna go for a walk. Nodding in understanding, the black-haired boy watched his friend walk off slowly. Misawa looked at him, determined expression on his face. I'm going to find out what that was all about sooner or later, and when I do he smiled. Well, I'm sure talking about it will help. He walked back to the dorm, thinking about his friend, wondering what made him act the way he did. Suddenly he chuckled. I wonder when he'll realize that he won due to dumb luck. The genius's laughter rang throughout the corridor. Naruto was walking through the forest that surrounded the academy, finding the familiar setting relaxing, just what he needed after that stressful duel. Thinking about Yamashima's motivation made him think about Asuka and what happened between them. He sighed. I really need to apologize to her, I don't want to lose her as a friend. Or maybe miss out on a chance for more. Going further into the forest, he froze completely when he heard a girly scream. One of fear, and he recognized the voice all too well. Turning sharply, he called out into the night. Asuka. Chapter end. Chapter 7 The Shadow Games FanFiction. Naruto ran through the forest at top speeds, which by the way, was pretty damn fast. That scream, it was definitely Asuka. But what's she doing out here? He broke through some bushes and momentarily stopped, looking at a large building. Okay, pretty sure this is where it came from. Wonder what this place is. Quickly shaking his head he made his way to the door when he spotted something on the ground beneath him. Looking down, he recognized it instantly. That's Asuka's cyberblader. She's definitely here. Quickly picking it up, he ran towards the door of the large building, bursting through it. Looking around the dusty old room, he heard a shout from up above. Naruto-san. Sending his gaze upwards, he was shocked to see the Slifer Dumbus duo and their large friend, Mita Hayato. What are you doing here? Shu asked. I heard a scream, it was Asuka. Judai finished for him. Shining his flashlight on the floor, the Slifer Red noticed something and ran down the stairs. Going over to what he saw, he picked up a card. This is Asuka's Atoil Cyber. Gasping, Naruto took out Cyberblader and looked at it. Hayato looked up from the floor and pointed towards a corridor. There's marks of something being dragged away going that way. Before the fluffy boy had even finished his sentence, Naruto was running down the corridor at Olympian speeds. Don't worry, Asuka, I'm coming. Behind him he could hear his Slifer companions calling out behind him. Asuka. Asuka-san. After a few minutes of running, Naruto came out at a rocky area and he instantly noticed his objective. Asuka. Said girl was lying in an upright coffin that looked like it belonged in a goth's basement. Around the coffin was ominous smoke billowing about. Behind him the Slifer trio came out of the corridor. Asuka. Judai shouted. Suddenly a dark chuckle rang out from nowhere. This one soul has already sunk into a thick darkness. Judai asked the obvious question. Who's there? A figure rose from the smoke causing Hayato and Shu to gasp in fear wonderment. What seemed to be a man in a black custom dual-disc trench coat that was like Chrono's, but much more intimidating. He wore a black hat and a mask covering most of his face. Welcome Yuki Judai. Judai glared at the man. Who the hell are you? The man looked up. My name is Titan, the Dark Duelist. Naruto's eyes widened in recognition. Titan, the self-proclaimed dark duelist, he's infamous in the underground dueling world. The dueling mercenary who can apparently call upon the power of the shadow duels to aid him. Naruto frowned at the man. Kaiba and Pegasus dismissed those rumors as a millennium item is required to do so and they are unobtainable where they are. But you can't dismiss the fact that all of his opponents were hospitalized after their duels. He was pulled out of his musings by Shu. Aniki. Yudai glared. Who the hell are you? What did you do to Asuka? Blinking in shock, Naruto realized he forgot about Asuka. He too glared at the man. I am a dark duelist, a controller of the shadow duels. Hayato repeated the words in confusion. Judai took a step forward. Stop messing with me. There's no such thing as the shadow duels. Normally, Naruto would have taken any opportunity to show Judai up and prove him wrong, but now wasn't the time for such petite things. The so-called dark duelist chuckled. Once you get a taste of it, you'll understand, kid. This is a forbidden domain wherein none is allowed to step foot. I will deal punishment on those who break that vow. Judai took another step. So it's your fault that the people here have gone missing. You're going to give us back Asuka. If you can beat me in a shadow duel, that is, Yuki. Judai growled, but blinked when he saw Naruto walk forward. I'll be your opponent, Titan. Naruto said calmly as he stood between Judai and the intimidating man. He smirked. No, you will not. My business is with Yuki. Judai. Naruto smirked. What you just said confirms to me that you are indeed the Titan I've heard of, the dueling mercenary who claims to control darkness itself. The Slifers blinked and looked at him in confusion. You deal with money, correct? I'll pay you to duel me instead of Judai. He said confidently. Titan chuckled. I do not believe you can afford my services. He said calmly. Naruto said nothing, instead pulling out his smartphone. He spoke as he pressed some buttons. Money is no obstacle for me. I have close connections with both Industrial Illusions and Kaiba Corporation. I can get any amount you want with a couple of phone calls. He finished with the phone and threw it at Titan, who caught it. Looking at it, he was shocked to see a slightly younger Naruto standing next to both Seto Kaiba and Pegasus J. Crawford, the latter with a hand on the blonde's shoulder. Titan smirked and threw the phone back. Very well, you have obtained my services. He activated his custom dual disc. Now, allow me to serve you. Judai made a sound of protest and Naruto looked back at him. The brunette was shocked to see the blonde's serious expression and the anger in his cerulean eyes. Nodding, he took a couple of steps back. Narrowing his eyes, Naruto turned back around and activated his disc. Titan smirked. You better not regret this, kid. Naruto looked at Asuka's unconscious face and growled. Oh, I won't. It'll be you who's going to be regretful. Duel. I'll make the first move, Titan drawled. Draw. I summon Inferno Queen Demon in attack mode. A robed, winged and vaguely female monster appeared on the field with a roar. Inferno Queen Demon Fiend Fire LVL. 4. At def 900 1500s. Naruto frowned at Demon Deck. Huh? Titan continued. When this card is on the field, it increases the attack of all demon monsters by 1000 points. Hayato gasped. Which means, Shu said. IQD, 1900. Judai spoke up from behind Naruto. A demon deck is indeed a powerful deck. But it comes with a high price of constantly paying out of your life points during each of your standby phases to keep your monsters out. Naruto looked over in surprise. The idiot knows that. Titan's evil chuckle brought his attention back. The price, you say? That won't be necessary. Not in the presence of this card. Field magic, activate. Light shone from his dual disc, causing the 4 students to cover their eyes. Opening them, they gasped as they looked around at the changed field. Naruto frowned. A field spell. Where are we? Judai asked. Let's just say it's the edge of hell for now. I've activated the field magic, Pandemonium, the Den of Demons. This card will prevent the cost to maintain my demon deck from happening and give monsters with demon in their names the ability to be reborn when destroyed outside of battle. Now, it's your turn. Naruto looked at Asuka in worry. Was it healthy to be unconscious this long? Whoa, now. If you're so concerned about the girl, then allow me to put her out of your sight. The coffin closed and finger-like things closed around it, dragging it underground. Naruto's eyes widened. Asuka. Hayato and Shu weren't happy with this development. That's low. You coward. Naruto glared at him fiercely. The bastard was going to pay. Titan chuckled. Say what you will. This is a shadow game. If you prefer, I'll make you disappear as well. He said, finally raising his voice above a drawling monologue. Naruto glared at him. Draw. Naruto looked at his opponent's field. Right, all I need is a monster stronger than 1900, that's 4 stars or less. Looking down at his hand, he was happy to see Kabuto Yakushi in his hand. Okay, if I attack with Kabuto they'll both be destroyed and then I can activate the effective explosive tag to destroy his field spell while dealing damage at the same time. He smirked when he saw a certain trap card and this will protect me from whatever attack he does next turn. First of all I summoned Kabuto Yakushi in attack mode. The silver-haired, bespectacled man appeared on the field. Kentucky 1900. Now, Kabuto attack Inferno Queen Demon. The silver head smirked and charged the monster with a glowing hand. As he struck, the demon struck at the same time, destroying them both simultaneously. Titan gritted his teeth as his strategy was instantly shattered before his eyes. The Slifer trio cheered as Naruto eyed Titan with a serious stare. If this was any other situation, he would have messed around a bit, give the opponent a chance. But, he glanced at where Asuka had been and gritted his teeth. This was no time to hold back. He picked a card from his hand and played it. I activate the spell card, Explosive Tag. This will destroy your Pandemonium Field spell and deal 500 points of damage to your life points. A tag flew out and landed on Titan's dual disc and exploded. The demonic lair around them shattered and they were back in the rocky area. Naruto 4000. Titan 3500. Next I place a face down and end my turn. Titan glared and the trio cheered. Wow, Naruto-san is really strong. Shu said in awe, Hayato nodding in agreement. Judai was smiling at the blonde's back, excitement coursing through him at the thought of dueling him. He was, however, confused at the earlier hostility in the guy's eyes, directed at him. Titan frowned. What is this kid? He never said anything about him. Drawing a card, he smirked. I summoned Death Rook Demon in attack mode. A monster, vaguely in the shape of a chess rook with claws and evil face appeared, complete with glowing red eyes. Death Rook Demon Fiend Light LVL. 3. At Def, 1100-1800. Now, Death Rook Demon, attack him directly. Not so fast, I activate the trap card, Paper Person of God. The trap flipped upwards to reveal a picture of the sea splitting and the sides of the split were covered in paper. When a monster attacks me or my monsters, this card activates and negates the attack, destroying that monster in the process. Shu and Hayato once again cheered at the move, something that was starting to get on Naruto's nerves. Titan chuckled, I knew you left yourself open to ambush me with a trap card as soon as you placed it. Naruto's eyes widened. What could he mean by that? Your petty tricks won't work on my demon deck. To chain your Paper Person of God, I'll activate Death Rook Demon's special ability. When it is targeted by an effect from one of your cards, I can roll a die. If the result is 3, the effect is negated and the card destroyed. Naruto gritted his teeth, he forgot about that effect. 6 balls of different colors, with numbers on them, appeared in a circular pattern above Titan's hand. Am I the only one who thought that looked like the tweeny clock? For this duel, I'll be using this roulette instead of a die. Now, my roulette of hell, carry his destiny and begin to turn. The roulette lit on fire before it moved to the 1 ball and then moved onto the 2 ball, and so on. Hayato decided to state the obvious. If it lands on a 3, his trap will be destroyed. Shu decided to join in. The odds are 1 in 6. Naruto sweated slightly, even thought it was a very small chance, there was still the possibility of it happening. And lo and behold, the roulette landed on 3. The roulette landed on a 3. Therefore, Death Rook Demon's special ability activates. Paper Person of God is destroyed. The large rift that had appeared in the middle of the field closed, allowing the demon monster to finish its attack. Naruto grunted in pain when it connected. Ugh. Titan 3500. Naruto 2900. Naruto glared at Titan. You call that an attack? That was nothing. Titan chuckled. You do not appear fazed by my attack. Let us change that, shall we? He held up a pyramid-shaped object with an eye on it. A light shone from the item begin to vanish. Your body will gradually disappear in accordance to your life points. The trio gasped and called out to him. Naruto. Naruto-san. Naruto. Looking down he gasped at the sight of pieces of his body not being there. What the hell? Titan chuckled, for the love of God, someone make him stop. Kid, didn't I tell you? That this shadow duel has already begun. Naruto frowned, is this really a shadow duel? I've been told they're generally more painful than this. The enshrouding black fog, the heavy black fog is engulfing you all. Hard to breathe now, isn't it? Shu and Hayato started choking. It's the pressure of the shadow duel. Your legs will no longer move, so no one will be able to run away from this game. He's right. I can't budge my legs. Shu informed. Naruto's brow twitched, if either of them said one more thing he was gonna wait. Naruto looked down and saw his foot twitch slightly. I can move. He realized. Then that means that this isn't really a shadow game. He looked up at Titan. I must admit though, he is very convincing with his illusions. With that realization came back all of his motor functions. You know. You almost had me there, Titan. Said Giant looked at him confused. Chi, you're a real hypocrite, saying my petty tricks won't work, and look at you. He declared pointing at him. Shu looked confused. Huh, what do you mean, Naruto-san? Naruto looked back and smirked. Which of my hands are missing? He asked. Shu and Hayato looked confused but answered anyway. Left. Right. Blinking in shock, they looked at each other in confusion, and Naruto smirked again. That's right, all this, the fog, my body disappearing, your body's not moving, choking, they're all elaborate illusions caused by that man. Titan frowned, but quickly laughed. Deny it all you want to, kid, but this is indeed a shadow duel. Objection. Naruto yelled, nearly giving everyone a heart attack in order to initiate a shadow duel. A millennium item is required, and they were buried deep underground years ago. He said, confident in his information, having been told it by his mentor, and Uncle Titan laughed again and held the pyramid up again. Behold. This is the legendary item, the Millennium Puzz. He was cut off again, when suddenly, a rock flew out and hit the puzzle, destroying it. Wow, what the? He shouted in shock, along with the exposition twins. Take a guess. Naruto smirked again, tossing another rock up and down in his hand, his body returning to normal. Shu was about to do what he does best before Naruto turned and gave him the death glare from hell, causing him to shut up quickly. Just as I expected, this shadow duel is indeed fake. It's obvious he used the light shining from the fake puzzle to hypnotize us, to make us unable to move and vanish. The human mind is a powerful thing, but it is extremely prone to the power of suggestion. His hypnosis fooled our bodies into paralysis and our eyes into seeing our bodies disappear. And seeing as our minds are all different, we all saw it slightly different. Also, he's most likely hacked his dual disk to make his monster's abilities always side with him. It isn't unheard of after all. Kaiba was always complaining about people hacking his creations, but looking at his, it's obviously a custom-made one, so he could have done anything to it. The three Sliffers looked at Naruto in awe, Judai especially. He figured all that out already, amazing. He really deserves to be in yellow. They were also surprised by the fact he knew the Seto Kaiba, something that was only just sinking in. And judging by what he said earlier, it was likely he knew Pegasus J. Crawford as well. Titan hastily spoke up, what utter nonsense. I really play shadow duels. Naruto sweat dropped, he was acting like a kid who got accused of lying about knowing someone famous. Naruto smirked. Then, you'll be able to answer this little trivia quiz of mine. How many of those millennium items you have there are there? Titan looked down. You mean the number of millennium items? Naruto's smirk grew. Hum on Titan, clock's ticking. He started to hum the countdown theme. It's S7. Naruto gasped. Titan chuckled 7. Ayato stated the obvious once again, he's right. Titan chuckled darkly, smugly, well. Do you get it now? I am a genuine player of the shadow duels. I am one of the holders of the 7 millennium puzzles existing in the world. He declared victoriously. The exposition twins gasped and Judai and Naruto smirked. Oh sorry Titan, close but no cigar. I'm afraid you have failed the bonus round. You have, however, been a great contestant. Titan made a confused sound. You're right about there being 7 millennium items, but that doesn't mean there's 7 millennium puzzles. Titan made a strange NGFTH sound. You fell short of the prize, and your lifelines are all used up. You've dug your own grave. You've just proved that you're a cheating scumbag. BRRR, since my trick won't work, it'd be pointless to keep dueling you. He said of a smoke bomb. Naruto growled, oh no, he did not just pull a ninja escape on me. Not so fast. He ran to chase after him, but as he did, the snake head surrounding the area lit up and beams of light met in the middle of the room, causing a large eye to appear on the field. What the fuck? Titan paused in his escape and turned to see what happened. Ooh. Smoke began to swirl around Naruto and Titan, causing the former to gasp and the other to shout in fear. The smoke cloud turned into a ball of darkness with lightning shooting of it. Naruto. Naruto-san. Naruto looked around in shock at the purple-black dome surrounding him. Titan, it seemed, was just as shocked as he was. What is this? Naruto looked at him sharply. Wait, if this isn't his doing, then he stopped in his musings when a wave of little black creatures surged onto Titan. SSS, stay back. Help me. The creatures went in his mouth. Naruto watched, extremely freaked out, but not exactly jumping to help the man. He looked down and saw the creatures approach him, Naruto-kun. Looking at his dual disc, he saw Haku pull herself out of it in her battle garb. Despite the situation, he just had to ask. How the hell did you pull yourself out of there? He asked, dumbfounded. Haku facepalmed, or should I say, maskpalmed. Shaking her head, she threw senbons at the monsters, causing them to scatter, and personally Naruto couldn't blame them. He had been on the receiving end of those things many a time before, and they bloody hurt. Hearing some choking sounds, he looked up at the man he had honestly forgotten about. What? The Titan looked up with red glowing eyes. Well, Uzumaki Naruto, why don't we carry on with the duel? With a real shadow game, Naruto frowned. Okay, not entirely sure about this, but I don't think his eyes were red and glowy earlier, and I'm pretty damn sure that isn't 100% normal, he thought, quickly realizing something was different. Only a complete idiot wouldn't notice that, cough cough. Well, seeing as you're not running away now, he said, deciding to see where this would go. As soon as a shadow duel is activated, there's no escaping from here until the duel has an outcome. Titan's Death Rook Demon reappeared on the field. Fine by me, and seeing as you attacked last time, it's my turn now. I summon the monster card Akatsuki Deidara in attack mode. The mad bomber of the Akatsuki appeared in a puff of smoke. AD 1600. And because of his effect, 2 clay tokens are summoned on your side of the field. 2 birds flew out of Deidara's palms and landed on Titan's shoulders. Now I activate the spell card, Edo Tensei, by removing from play 1 monster on my side of the field. I can special summon 1 monster from my graveyard. I sacrifice Akatsuki Deidara to summon Kabuto Yakushi in attack mode. Deidara flaked away and went into a coffin. The coffin shook before opening up and Kabuto stepped out, sclera black. Kentucky 1900. And since Deidara has left the field, the 2 clay tokens are destroyed, dealing a total of 1000 damage to your life points. The birds exploded, engulfing Titan in smoke, but oddly enough the man showed no reaction, except black smoke billowing from his mouth. Naruto 2900. Titan 2500. Now, Kabuto destroyed Death Rook Demon. The bespectacled man struck, shattering the warp chess piece. Titan was unfazed. Naruto 2900. Titan 1600. My turn. Draw. I play the spell card Monster Reincarnation by discarding 1 cards from my hand. I can special summon 1 monster from my graveyard, and I choose Inferno Queen Demon. Titan's first monster appeared on the field. IQD 900. And thanks to its special effect, it gains 1000 attack points. IQD 1900. Now I summon Genocide King Demon in attack mode. A scary looking winged monster with a demonic sword appeared on the field. Genocide King Demon Fiend Dark LVL. 4. At def 2000 1500s. This monster can only be summoned if I have another demon monster on my side of the field. Also, thanks to Inferno Queen Demon's special effect, it gains additional points. DKD 3000. Now, Genocide King Demon, destroy his monster. The Demon King roared and slashed Kabuto with its sword, destroying the medic. Naruto 1800. Titan 1600. Now, Inferno Queen Demon, finish him off. The evil queen flew at Naruto, but he wasn't defeated just yet. I activate the effect of a monster in my hand. When I am attacked directly and I have no other monsters on my side of the field, I can special summon this card in defense mode. Come on out. Akatsuki Tobi. A swirl appeared in the air in front of Naruto, and a man in the usual black cloak with a swirly orange mask and spiky black hair appeared, standing defensively in front of Naruto. Akatsuki Tobi Warrior Earth LVL. 2. At def 800 500s. The monster struck Tobi, but nothing happened, the attack just going through. The possessed Titan finally showed emotion, shock. What? Naruto smirked at him. Tobi's secondary ability is that he can't be destroyed by battle, however he also can't be used as a tribute, so there's some good news for you. Titan frowned. I end my turn with a face down. Naruto drew a card and looked at his hand of 4 cards. He let out a nervous breath. Alright, I can do this. I activate the field spell card, Jito Meizo. A giant torso with multiple closed eyes and 2 upturned hands appeared behind the blonde. This field spell increases the attack and defense of all Akatsuki monsters on my side of the field by 300. AT 1100 800. Now I summon Akatsuki Sasori in attack mode. A medium-sized young man appeared with red hair, peaceful expression and usual black cloak appeared on the field. Akatsuki Sasori Warrior Wind LVL. 4. At def 1800 2000. And now, due to Jito Meizo, he gains 300 at def points. AS 2100 2300. Now Akatsuki Sasori destroy Infernal Queen Demon. Sasori swiped his hand and the Demon Queen was slashed to pieces, shattering into nothing. Naruto 1800. Titan 1300. Now, Sasori's second effect activates. When he destroys a monster by battle, he gets that monster as an equip card and he gains attack points equal to that monster level times 3. Blue strings shot out of Sasori's fingers and into Titan's graveyard slot. With a yank of his hand, Inferno Queen Demon flew out and landed next to Sasori. On a closer inspection, Inferno Queen Demon looked slightly different. It had 2 lines going down on either side of its mouth and its previous clothing was replaced with a grey cloak. AS 3300. Also, since Inferno Queen Demon was destroyed, Genocide King Demon's attack went back to normal. GKD 2000. Next I place a face down and end my turn. Titan smirked. Before my draw phase 1, activate my face down card, Blood Marks, and now it's my turn. A card flew from his deck and into his hand at this moment due to the effect of the permanent trap. Blood Marks, the 800 point cost to keep Genocide King Demon out, is pulled from both of our life points. Naruto 1000. Titan 500. Naruto smirked and picked out a card and activated it. I activate the effect of a spell in my hand, explosive tag. Genocide King Demon special effect activates. If the roulette lands on either a 2 or a 5 your card will be negated and destroyed. The roulette appeared and started to spin, this time the odds were 1 in 3. Naruto smirked, however, and pulled a device out of his pocket. Heh, glad Kaiba gave me this. Flashback. It was Naruto's 15th birthday, and he was happy to have both his mentor and uncle figure there with him, even if one hated the other. He had received a new deck from Pegasus, one that he had based of some of the things he asked Naruto a few weeks beforehand. Naruto was shocked to see the old faces. He'd wondered why Pegasus had asked so many questions before. Opening Kaiba's gift, he was confused to see a cylindrical, metal object, think along the lines of the sonic screwdriver, but obviously not a cuss that would be lame. He looked over at Kaiba in confusion. Kaiba smirked. As you may know, there are a lot of fools out there who modify their dual discs in order to cheat. At seeing Naruto's nod he continued, if you come across one of these fools, just point that at their dual disc and press the button, and it will deactivate any hardware that isn't Kaiba Corpse. He finished with a smug smirk. Naruto's eyes widened and he thanked him for the amazing gift. Flashback end. Naruto pointed the device and clicked. Smirking, he sat back and watched the roulette spin. Knowing his incredible luck. Naruto was shocked to see the roulette land on a 3. Damn, he said as his spell was destroyed. Well, that was pointless. Titan sighed. I switch Genocide King Demon to defense mode and end my turn. DKD, 1500. Sweat was pouring down Titan's face as he realized he was done for anyway. I end my turn. He said. Naruto grinned. Sasori, destroy Genocide King Demon. Sasori's fingers twitched and the demon puppet attacked its fellow, destroying it. Now, Akatsuki Tobi, finish him off, whack-a-mole. Tobi disappeared below ground and pooped up behind Titan and hit him with a stick. Even though he was defeated, he couldn't help but sweat drop at the random move. Naruto 1000. Titan 0000. Titan roared and all the little black creatures leaped at him, engulfing him. What are you doing? He popped his head up from the mass of monsters engulfing High Impossible. Are you telling me shadow duels really exist? Naruto scoffed, something that grabbed his attention. Of course they're real, and I think you've bit off more than you can chew. He said, staring at him apathetically. Titan reached out to him in an attempt to get help. He helped me? Naruto just narrowed his eye. Who hired you? He asked coolly, not moving to help. Titan started screaming hysterically. It was that man, the man with blonde hair and lipstick. Naruto's eyes narrowed even further. Chronos, eh? Looks like I need to have a few words with him. Help me. Naruto looked at him for a few seconds before turning away. "No" was the last thing Titan said before he was pulled into the shadows. Haku looked like she was about to speak, but seeing the look in his eyes, decided against. Instead, she decided to point out the exit. Look Naruto-kun, over there. She said, pointing to a white rip. Looking at the black mass approaching him, he decided it would be in his best interests to go through it. Right, let's go. Running though the rip, they fell onto the floor. Well, Naruto did, Haku being a spirit she floated to the floor. Naruto. Naruto-san. Turning he saw the Slifer trio run over to him. Haku giggled at their excitement and Hayato and Judai stopped, confused looks on their face. That voice just now they muttered before a rumble was heard. Hit the ground. Hayato shouted and they all did so, Naruto grabbing the now revealed Asuka and holding her protectively. The now empty coffin flew into the shrinking black orb behind them before it dispersed into ashes. Judai gasped and clapped. Ooh-oh. I don't even know how he did this trick. Naruto did a Fasipum V2, amazed at the boy's stupidity. Shu turned to Naruto. Naruto-san, where did that guy go? Standing up with Asuka in his arms he answered. Oh, when he lost he legged it out of there. He said. Accepting the explanation the three of them left the building. The four boys and one unconscious girl made it outside. Naruto placed Asuka up against a tree stump and glared at Judai. Taken back, Judai blinked. Whoa, dude what's up? He asked, clueless. Naruto glared at the idiot. You don't even realize do you? Judai just looked confused and Naruto glared at the idiot. Titan was after you, it's your fault Asuka was put in danger like that. Judai gasped and stared at the blonde, astounded. Naruto let out a TCH and walked off, but not before throwing a card at Judai, who just managed to catch it. Here, give that to Asuka when she wakes up, I'm outta here. The Slifer trio watched him walk off and Judai pondered over what the blonde said. Is he right, is all this my fault? Seeing that Asuka was waking up, he bent down next to her. Oh, so you've come too. What are you guys doing here? Looking around she saw the three Slifer boys sitting around her. We're sorry that you were given such a hard time, but don't worry about it. Asuka, the guy who assaulted you already ran away. She gasped. Then you guys Judai grinned. Nope, it was that Naruto guy, he dueled the other guy to save you. Asuka gasped again at this information. He left before you woke up though. She looked sad at this news. Judai seeing this spoke hastily. But here. He handed her 2 cards. We found the Atoil Cyber and Naruto found Cyber Blader also. I found this. He handed her a picture. Nice-an. She gasped breathlessly. It's unmistakable. This is my brother's signature. Naruto smiled from his perch on a nearby tree branch. He was happy she found something on her brother she had told him about. Silently climbing down, he walked away. Hearing a bird call and a loud exclamation, he turned and saw the 3 Sliffers running at him. Eyes widening, he was crushed comically flat beneath the 3 as they rushed back to their dorm. Ouch. He moaned, sitting up and holding his head. He blinked as he saw a feminine hand in his sight. Following it up the arm, he blinked at the sight of a smiling Asuka staring down at him. Staring at her for a few seconds, he smiled back and accepted her help, pulling himself up. They stared at each other for a while, before Asuka they spoke at the same time. Sorry. They blinked and then burst out laughing. When they calmed down, they smiled, but when they noticed they were still holding hands they blushed and quickly let go, stuttering. After a few awkward moments Naruto rubbed the back of his neck and spoke. I guess we should head back. Asuka nodded hastily. Why yes you're right. Smiling again, they made their way back to the academy, friendship renewed. Chapter end. What if Naruto was raised by Pegasus? Yugioh end here and thanks for watching my video till the end.